Okay, let's rock and roll. So in the breath support boot camp, I cap it at a really small number of people. So I think we have 8 of you guys who are coming in today. So we make sure that everybody gets hands-on, everybody gets a lot of good, coaching individually. So I would love, while we're waiting for the others to join, if we could just go around and introduce yourself, say your name, say where you're from, and what kind of music you love to sing. And the way that we will run the boot camp is that you guys will keep yourself muted and you'll sing along and you'll do the stuff that we're going to be doing. And if you have a question, you guys know where the raise hand function is in what it says, reactions. If you see at the bottom of your Zoom where it says reactions, you can raise hand if you have a question. Or if I say, who wants to be the guinea pig or who wants to experiment, you can always just unmute and say, I will, and do that too. So when I'm working with you, obviously you'll unmute, and otherwise keep yourself muted and play along, sing along, do everything that we're doing. And if you have questions, let me know. Okay, so I am gonna go ahead, put on my trusting reading glasses because I'm getting old, guys. And I'm gonna mute everybody. And let's see, who would like to start? Somebody go ahead and unmute and say your name and where you're from and what kind of music you love to sing.
I'll go.
Okay.
Okay, I don't see. Oh, there's the chat. Okay. My name's Michael
Hey,
Haley.
Mike. Welcome. Do you prefer Mike or Michael?
Michael.
Okay.
Um, so I like to sing pop rock music.
Awesome. And where are you from?
Um,
Where do you live? Where in the world are you?
I'm in New York.
In the
Uh,
city proper or what part?
yeah, Upper West Side.
Nice.
Yeah, I used to live in New York growing up, and then the last 20 years or so, I moved out. I lived all across the country, Arizona, Las Vegas, big gambling.
And now you're back.
So,
All right. Well, welcome, Michael from New
thanks.
York. So good to see
Thank
you
you.
again.
Thank
Okay.
you.
Who would like to go next?
I'll go next.
Hey.
My name is Andy. I'm hailing from Boulder right now, Boulder, Colorado. And I love to sing jazz and like singer-songwriter stuff that I'm working on. And there's definitely some pop and theater influence in that as well.
Beautiful. Did you get dumped on a couple days ago when it was just massively blizzarding everywhere in that area?
A little bit. Last weekend was cold as balls. It was like -7, for most of the weekend, but it's warming up a lot here. I feel like it's 20s or 30s today and just
Yeah.
feeling pretty good.
Yeah, when that's warm, you're in the mountains or at least near them. All right. Well, welcome, Andy. Thank you for being here. Okay, who's next?
I'll go next.
Hey, hey.
Hi, my name is Alyssa Marie. I hail from Pennsylvania in the Delaware County area, originally from South Philadelphia. And I love to sing pop rock, alternative rock, EDM is my specialty, and I love me a good, long, beautiful ballad.
Nice. Welcome. So good to see you again, Alyssa.
You too.
Okay. And who else are we missing? Let's see. Marin.
Hi, I am Erin Tibbetts. I'm from Mesa, I'm actually Tempe, Arizona. Born and raised in Arizona. I actually learned to sing classical music, and I've always just had a love in my heart for more Broadway type of music, the stuff that's just like you're acting a part, I guess you could say. But I'm also way into church music too. So
Cool. All right, guys. Well, I'm so glad you're here. So the way we're gonna run things is we are going to deep dive into breath support and everything that goes into that, so that by the end of this 3-hour boot camp, you're really gonna understand everything that it is, what it isn't, how to embody it in your physiology. And we're gonna do like A to Z, step by step by step of setting up this foundation. And then we'll get to do some repertoire as well towards the end, putting it into practice in songs. And the way we do that is if you want to do it a cappella, that's totally cool. If you have like a karaoke track or something that you want to just like play it off your phone, as long as it's like on your side of things and you can hear it, that's all that really matters when we get to that point. And we will, about halfway through, we will take like a 10-minute, what I call bio break. If you know, go use the bathroom, to get a snack, whatever, you know, but at any point, you know, make sure, get up, move around, stretch your legs, do what you need to do. Whenever we're doing, if I'm working with you individually, or if we're working on a specific aspect of the technique or exercise, it's really best to stand up when you're doing it. So that doesn't mean you have to stand up for all 3 hours. You know, when I'm explaining and stuff like that, great. But if we're going to be implementing and I'm asking you to try something and feel something in your body, standing up is the best way to learn. Okay. So let me make sure that I have all the settings going. Okay, so do you guys know, or if you're on a computer, not an iPhone or an iPad, but if you're actually on a computer, there's something called your original sound settings for Zoom. And if you go up to your Zoom preferences and you click preferences, and you'll see the Zoom settings come up, and the third one down is green, that's little green earphones icon that says audio. Click on audio, and if you scroll down, you will see under audio profile, it says original sound for musicians. I want you to click that, enable that, so it's a blue enabled circle. And then high fidelity music mode does not need to be clicked. Echo cancellation should be clicked, and stereo audio should be clicked. Is anybody having trouble finding that or seeing that? Okay.
Hey,
Yeah.
I'm,
Hey, there's
can you,
Gary. Gary didn't introduce himself.
yeah,
Go for it.
sorry. Yeah, I'm Gary. I live in Hawaii, Oahu. I like to sing Neil Diamond, specifically early Neil Diamond. And that's where I'm at.
Awesome.
Oh yeah, I'm having trouble. Could you repeat
Yeah,
that
it's because you're on an
instruction?
iPhone or an iPad.
Yeah,
So for now, don't worry about it. It's just an extra thing that if you can enable it, it's great if you can. Okay. Yeah.
okay.
Michael, did you have a question? You're
I had
muted.
trouble with that.
Are you on a computer?
Yeah.
Okay. Do you know where to find your Zoom settings?
No.
Okay. On the top, so in the Zoom window of, you know, where we are, up at the top, it says zoom.us, and then it says meeting, and then view, and then edit, and then window, like right at the top toolbar. You see where that is?
I see view. I don't see anything else. Let's see. Maybe. No, I just see view.
Okay.
Zoom meeting. Is it Zoom meeting or no? No, that's not it. No,
No, it's, I
I
wonder
don't see it.
what?
I don't see it. No.
Okay. Hang on. I wonder if, let me see if I can screen share, if it'll show. So you guys see like up here, do you see, I don't know, where it says zoom.us meeting view? I don't know if it's showing it in the screen share.
It's showing now. Yeah, I don't
So
know.
you want to click Zoom US and then you see
Okay.
preferences.
Okay.
Okay, hang on, let me let Darcy in. Okay, so you're going to click preferences, and then this is going to show up, this main screen here. So you're going to click audio,
Hmm.
and then under audio profile, make sure original sound for musicians is clicked. It's possible that you have an older version of Zoom too. So honestly, guys, it's not the end of the world. It's just if you can enable it, it's good.
I think I figured out how to do it on an older computer.
Okay, you want to tell?
There's a little green like little icon with a check mark in it. Do you have that on yours? Because that's how I found it. It wasn't the same way that you were explaining it, Arden.
Okay. Yeah, because it depends on what like version of Zoom that you have if you don't have the latest version yet. But again, if you can enable it, it's great. If not, it's not the end of the world. So here's the thing. Once you set those settings, now if you look on the main Zoom meeting where we're at, where you see me talking to you, on the left-hand top of the picture where you see me, you'll see original sound for musicians, and it'll say off right now. Tap where it says off, and then it'll say on. You guys seeing that? Good. Okay. And again, Michael, don't worry about it. If you can't, it's not the end of the world. Okay. Okay. And I see that Iris has joined us. All right. So let's just say, and so has Darcy. All right. So go here, Iris, and then Darcy, you're on deck. Just to introduce yourself, where you're from, and what kind of music you love to sing.
Hi, my name is Iris Williams. I'm so psyched to be here.
I'm so excited
I'm
too.
hailing from Brooklyn, New York right now. And why am I here? Arden, I'm just a fan, and I just can't wait to get out of my head and into whatever space I'm supposed to be into. And this just felt like the right thing to do. And I'm just a stalker / fan, so I'm glad to meet you all.
What kind of music do you love to sing?
Oh, musical theater. I just want to kill auditions, not just show up in the room, but annihilate them.
There you go. You and Marin, we're going to have fun. The three of us, we're going to get into some musical theater today too.
There you go.
All right. And Miss Darcy.
Yeah, so I've emailed you a few times, Arden, and I've sang my whole life, but as a kid in competition and stuff like that, and then I went into horses, had a family and all that, and I just feel like as I'm in the middle of my life that I have this white box with a red ribbon on it, and inside of it is my voice, and I want to let it out. And I mean, I want to sing from the tops of the mountains because we used to live in Jackson Hole, Wyoming, and I'm hopefully moving back from Virginia. And I just want to develop this voice. So whether I do gigs or whether I, sing at church, whether I, have an audience of 1,000 people and I bring them to their knees because they're so moved by my voice, I want to bring this out. I want to bring this gift out. So this is my start for 2024.
So fantastic. And breath support really is the foundation of all of that, right? Mm-hmm. So if you just joined us, the way we run this is I'm going to keep everybody on mute while I'm explaining stuff. And then if you have a question, you can go into the reactions and use the raise hand function, or you can just go ahead and unmute and ask. And if you're working with me and we're coaching on a specific aspect of this, you'll unmute. But otherwise, keep yourself muted, sing along. As we're, experimenting, exploring with these different things that we're going to engage with. So as I started to say, and also if you have questions, you can also type them into the chat because I can see the chat too. So as I started to say, everything that you guys want to do, right? What you were just talking about, and what Darcy was talking about, what Iris was just talking about, wanting to find the full potential of your instrument and really be able to tap into that and rely on that and know that you can bring that whenever you need it to make the biggest impact with your artistry and your talents. The foundation of that as a singer rests on reliable breath support. And the reason that breath support is so important, I mean, it might think to yourself like, well, duh, but truly is because if you think about things that support things, right? Like you think about, the analogy I like to use is you think about the legs of a table. They support the table. And the legs of the table are consistent. They're steady, right? And the table then is you can put stuff on the table. It's not going to fall down, right? But if the legs of the table are like all doing like this, that's not supporting the table. Or ladies, we wear bras and undergarments to support the girls, right? If the bra was not stable, then the girls are bouncing all over the place, and that's not fun or comfortable, okay? So when we think about things that support things, what we're talking about is stability and consistency. And there's so much bad information out there around breath support. Unfortunately, because anybody can call themselves an expert voice teacher, you don't need like a PhD or some sort of certification. But there's so many common misconceptions that actually create the very instability that support is there to annihilate, okay? So why support is so important is because it is the foundation for the stability of the air from which the sound comes. And so at the end of the day, if the support for the air is, and we're going to get into how all this works in a sec, is not there for you. Now all of a sudden you're insecure. You don't really know what's going to come out. It's the cross your fingers and hope technique of singing, which is not technique, right? Like, how many of you have been in that situation where it's just like, oh, I know it's in there. I've heard it. I've done it. But is that what I'm going to get right now? Don't know. Cross my fingers, right? So that's a direct symptom. Like, that's not the problem. The problem is that the breath support is not consistent and reliable and stable. And so when you don't have that, now all of a sudden is you're insecure, your technique is insecure. So without that lack of confidence, with all that inconsistency, you're not really putting yourself out there for the things that you want. You maybe, or you do put yourself out there, but you don't get hired very much. And so you get a lot of rejection. And so you're beat down. And so maybe then you stop putting yourself out there. Now you're not fulfilling your gifts. You're watching other people up there living your dream of, and it sucks. And it creates like a really negative feedback loop. The other thing is, if you get your support wrong, it can create tension and strain, which is the number one cause of vocal injury. Nodes, vocal hemorrhage, vocal paralysis, and those things will take you out. And yes, like a medical, an MD, an otolaryngologist, an ENT surgeon can fix them 9 times out of 10 medically. But if you continue to sing the same way after that injury, you're just going to re-injure yourself. Like, this is what's happened to Adele. You guys know that Adele has canceled 3 tours in the last 6 years? She's had 2 vocal hemorrhages. And it's not that, I guarantee you, she has like the best teachers in the world working with her. But breath support is also a mindset thing. So I'll follow you guys here. If you follow my content, you also know that I'm huge on this idea, because your body cannot do what your brain is sabotaging. So the purpose of today is to lay out the foundation of the best tools and the best method of support. And then we're going to get into a little bit of mindset if I see you guys doing things that I think we need to address. But the focus of today is an important but small actual piece of the larger problem if you're not where you want to be in your singing. And so we're going to address this most important piece, but please know that there is so much more that goes into freeing your most powerful and consistent sound so you can go out there and be successful with it. Okay. That's my soapbox. I'll get off now. So let's start by talking about the anatomy of support. So very first thing you guys probably all have heard is use your diaphragm, right? Y'all heard that. Use your diaphragm. Okay, diaphragm is super important. It is very important for the support of your sound when you talk or when you sing. But the thing about use your diaphragm is that, like, when a voice teacher, a choir director, somebody tells you to do that, 99% of singers that I know don't know what that means. They're like, oh, okay, well, what am I supposed to do? Like, where is the diaphragm? How does it function? What is the purpose of it? And how do we, quote, use it, right? So let's talk about diaphragm for a second. So you guys, I wore like super tight clothes so you can see everything that I'm doing here. Okay, so here's the base of my rib cage, okay? And the diaphragm sits at the bottom of my rib cage 3-dimensionally, like a bowl, like a dome, like an upside down bowl, okay? And it fits right under the entire base of my rib cage. And it is what separates my thorax, which is where my lungs are, from my viscus, which is where my intestines and my liver and my stomach and all the other organs are, okay? And when somebody says to you, use your diaphragm, the problem with that is we don't have very many nerve endings in the diaphragm. So you can't really feel your diaphragm. And it's really hard to manipulate something that you cannot feel. And so what we're talking about when we're actually talking about the diaphragm, because the diaphragm is really important for the production of sound, because it goes from this dome-shaped bowl. When you inhale, it inverts to become a right-sided bowl, you know what I'm saying, instead of an upside down bowl. So when you're at rest and you've breathed all your air out, the diaphragm is high. When you inhale, it inverts to become a bowl to make room for all of your lungs filling and expanding with air. As you exhale, this now bowl diaphragm goes back to becoming a dome as it moves and pushes the air out of your lungs, whether it's just on a regular breath or whether it's to talk or whether it's to sing, okay? Now, the problem with use your diaphragm is that most singers like get all up in there because they don't know really actually what that means or how to do it, and go in the wrong direction with how they are using their diaphragm. So I mentioned a second ago, it's really hard to direct the diaphragm because the purpose of the diaphragm in singing is to stay low and move slowly back to that dome position so that it doesn't move quickly and push all the air out at once, in which case you're out of breath, you don't make it to the end of the phrase, the sound is airy, and now you're creating a, pardon me, shit ton of tension because you've got this massive amount of air coming out, and mind doesn't like that because it doesn't feel good and it doesn't sound good. So now your neck and your jaw and maybe your tongue are now constricting to create a dam to prevent that massive flood of air because the diaphragm wasn't supporting the sound and it wasn't doing the job that it needed to do. It's coming up way too fast. Now you get this flood and now you're grabbing up here to prevent all that air from coming out. And that's where the tension and the strain comes from, okay? So what does support mean? You guys, breath support is really diaphragm support. So when we talk about breath support, what we're really talking about are the muscles that connect to the diaphragm, and I'll talk about that in a second, that keep the diaphragm low and moving slow to create the exact right velocity and the exact right volume of air passing through the cords that creates the exact right vibration and frequency for the most focused, beautiful tone, okay? So, you know what I'm gonna do, guys? I'm gonna plug in for a second. Unfortunately, my wireless buds are not working, so we're just gonna do it the old-fashioned way. Because oftentimes I find that when I don't have them in, I end up like talking louder than I need to. I don't wanna do that for 3 hours. Okay. So the muscles, when we're talking about breath support, what we're really talking about is using the muscles that connect to the diaphragm to support the diaphragm to stay low and move slow. So those muscles are what I call your container of support. Now, that includes your rectus abdominis, which is your six-pack muscles, okay? Your transverse your obliques, which are like if your hip bone is here, your obliques run down this way. So those like cut muscles that you see on like Olympic swimmers, right? Your transverse abdominis, which is low, like right above your pubic bone. Your middle back muscles, like below your rib and above your hip, like right in there, okay? And your intercostals, which are the muscles between your ribs, but we're gonna kind of set that aside for now. So what we're really talking about is everything down here, okay? So all the muscle, the giant dome-shaped muscle of the diaphragm tucks in to all these muscles that we just talked about, okay? And what you do with these muscles directly affects what happens to the diaphragm because they're connected to it. So if somebody doesn't understand breath support, they don't understand how to use the muscles of the container of the support to stabilize their diaphragm so it doesn't just flood out all the air at once or inconsistently, because it might not just be one big giant upward motion. It might kind of move in and out, up and down, which again is instability. It's the legs of the table going like this, right? So just getting that idea that when we talk about breath support, just don't worry about your diaphragm. You can't manipulate it in the way that you want. It's a very obtuse muscle, Don't even worry about it. What I really want you to think about now for the next 3 hours and for the rest of your singing life is when we're talking about breath support, what we're talking about are these muscles, okay? So I want you guys to get acquainted with them. So stand up. Okay. So what I want you to do is I want you first and foremost to put your hands on your obliques right here. And I want you to imagine that there's, the example that I always like to give when I'm teaching support is I want you to imagine that there's a dog that's barking and you want to shush the dog, okay? Or you have a child and who's being loud and you just want to shush the child. I don't want you to force these muscles to do anything. I just want you to shush the dog and feel what happens under your hand. So try a few. Shh, 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 shh. So what do you notice? Does anybody notice these muscles? What direction do you notice the muscles going in under your hands? Do you notice the muscles contracting in? Or do you notice the muscles flexing out? What do you notice? Start to get, somebody can unmute if you want to tell me what you notice. Anybody notice the muscles contracting in? So going like this? Shh, shh, shh. Does anybody notice them contracting? Yeah.
It's almost like they're going in and out, kind of.
Okay, fair enough. Fair enough. Okay, so these are your obliques. Okay, we're going to talk about direction in a second, but I just want you to feel what's happening. Now, find transverse abdominis, okay, which is low, right above your pubic bone. And this time, I want you to see if you can feel the shush, and see if you can feel it down here. Shh, shh, shh. You feel those low muscles start to fire? Yep. Now find your, what do you call it? Your rectus abdominis, which is your six-pack muscles, and just put your hand kind of vertically down your six-pack muscles, kind of where your ribs part. And again, shush the dog. Shh, 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 shh. Okay, so this is where you're feeling, these are all the muscles that are firing. Now also, what about your back? Get acquainted with your back. Okay, so again, find the low part of your rib and the high part of your hip, and you just want to put your hands kind of right here. Don't do this, that's harder to feel. Do this. And again, shush the dog, and you'll feel those muscles, but you'll feel them a little differently back there. They kind of go like this. You go shh, shh, shh. Okay, see what you feel in your back. You might feel it a little less, but those muscles are engaging when you shush the dog. Okay, so these are all the muscles that we're talking about. Now, yes, Gary, do you have a question? You can go ahead and unmute.
Okay, mine in the front jut out. When I go shh, it goes out. It doesn't go in.
Yeah, that's good. So this is
right.
exactly the transition of what we're going to talk about here. Okay.
All right.
So
okay.
The most important thing about the muscles of support is understanding how to engage them. There is a difference between flex and contract, okay? If you, like the muscles of the hand are gonna engage no matter what, but I can engage them, to contract them, or I can engage them to flex them. Both are an engagement of the muscle, but it's two different directions, okay? So what we want when we're talking about engaging the support muscles is we want flex, okay? So put your hands back on your obliques. And if you can watch me, you can watch mine, especially if you watch the side obliques, you can watch them fire. So it's here, okay? And you're gonna see the muscles go like down and out instead of up and in. So I'm gonna do it the wrong way first so you can see. This is contract. Shh, shh, right? Me can, shh, shh. We don't want that, okay? We want the opposite. So watch me here. Shh, shh. You see everything kind of go like this? It's down and out. It's a flex. So put your hands on your obliques, and I want you to shush the dog into your hand. It almost feels like you're bearing down. Like if you've given birth or you had a poop, you want to go that way. Shh, shh, shh. Play with that for a second, and if anybody has a question, go ahead and unmute and ask me. Shush the dog. Put it right into your hands. And you can feel it in your back body too. Shush it into your hands. Shh. You can really feel it when you do the shush here. If you're thinking down and out like poop. Shh. Yeah, Alyssa.
Is it safe, sorry, is it safe to say that when you're flexing out that, like, for me, it feels like this section is kind of like dipping a little bit more? Like it's going like this as opposed to when I was doing it
can you take your scarf off so I can see a little bit what's happening? Okay, so
like,
just face forward for a second and let me watch you. Yep. Okay, just go ahead. Shush the dog. Just leave your hands off so I can actually see. And go ahead and shush, just how you're doing it. Let me watch.
shh, shh. And then if I do it the flex out way, it feels like this is going like that. Like,
Let me see. Yeah, don't worry about what's happening up here right now. We're going to address that in a few minutes, okay? I just want you to focus on, it's a feeling of gently like shushing down. It's a feeling of bearing down, of down and out. So, I mean, if you watch my body, I mean, here, if I do it. Shh, 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 shh. It's a stability here, and but what I'm not doing is I'm not doing this. Shh. See, this went down, but so did this. We'll talk about that in a second. But I think what you're doing looks to me like it's in the right lane of things. So, and you guys, everything that we do is like going to stack on each other as we go through this. So keeping your focus just on that gentle feeling of flex. And also, put your hand here, Alyssa. Put your hand on your obliques and shush into your hand. Shh, shh. Yeah, you feel those muscles shushing into your hand? Yeah, yeah. I mean, you can see it here on me if you watch. Let me get this out of the way. If you watch me here, shh, 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 shh. You see those muscles going like this? See if you can shush the dog and put the shush right into your palm. Shh. These muscles. Shh, shh, shh. You feel that? Yeah, good. Okay, cool. Good question. And by the way, guys, like you'll notice how when, like I'm constantly asking you, do you feel that? Do you feel that? I'm not asking you, do you hear that? Right? So as we move through, really pay attention when I say good, yes, good. Pay attention to the feeling rather than whatever the sound, whether it's the sound of the shush or we're making some, we're doing a melody or whatever. What your job is to connect to the feeling of the good support, not the sound that it gives you, okay? Okay, so now you understand all these different muscle groups. And when you shush the dog, what you're doing when you flex like that is you're taking the diaphragm, which is in a bowl because you've breathed in, and when you do that gentle flex of the shush, what you're doing is you're taking these muscles and you're moving the diaphragm up just a tiny bit. Boop, boop. Every time you shush, shh, shh. The diaphragm's just moving up a tiny little bit, okay? Because you're flexing this way. If you were to contract instead of flex, these muscles would be contracting and pushing the diaphragm up too far, and you'd move too much air. You guys, it doesn't take a lot of air to sing at all, okay? It's just like a very gentle, steady, focused stream, okay? And the muscles that we're just talking about are what stabilize the diaphragm to move just enough, whether it's for a small shush or a longer phrase, so that it only moves the amount of air that you need, okay? All right, so now, with that idea, I want to talk about body alignment for a second, because body alignment can really interfere with these muscles that are needed. So I'll give you an example. I grew up doing a lot of ballet when I was a kid until I was like 15. And I was singing too, but nobody explained this to me for years. So if you think about, we all have body habits, ways in which we use our bodies, ways in which we have certain alignment issues, and most of us are not really conscious of what those are. So for example, my habit, so for somebody who does ballet, the whole point of a ballet stance, right, is you're totally tucked in. You tuck up the pelvis, and it's very like tucked in and sucked up, right? And that's like where I lived most of the time, which meant that when I wasn't doing ballet, my default was to go like this. Was to want to you know what I'm saying? Release all of that sucked up, tucked in, but it took me in the exact opposite direction into very sway back. So I was very sway back. But what happens is, remember you felt all these muscles here, right? And not to mention the fact that you have a lot of lung in your back, right? Your lungs go way down here in your back. That's why your ribs go down there in your back. So if I'm sway back, because I think I'm like I'm like relaxing now because I don't want to be tucked up like a ballerina. But now all of a sudden, I've cut off the muscles of support back here and half the lung that I would be breathing into. So that's an example of an alignment habit that really got in the way of singing until it was pointed out for me, right? Another thing that you might think of is just the alignment that we want to be able to use all of this. It's a really simple thing, which I call unzip the heart space. So a lot of us, we don't realize it, but we are very zipped up. So shoulders tend to be a little more forward, ears tend to be a little more forward, and it takes everything into this like zipped up space. So a feeling of unzip your heart space, right? Now you have so much more width, right? And length. If you feel like you are the skeleton in science class dangling from the hook, like dangling in science class from the skull, that's your length. And so it's a feeling of length and width. You can, that feeling of unzip the heart space. Also feel your shoulder blades just sliding down your back. And now you have like a really open energetic channel for everything that we need for singing, because singing and sound, and it's just a form of energy. And so we need to be an open channel for this energy, and anything that is constricted, contracted, right? Which is why we don't want to contract on the support, which is why we don't want to zip up here, because we block off the energy of the sound and the air in the body that we need for the sound that we want. So I want you guys to just see if over the course of today, and as you're moving into your singing and your regular life throughout the weekend, if you can understand and get a little bit curious about what is your habit? What is your habit, right? Like mine was that. I have worked with a lot of other singers. Like I worked with a singer who was super tall, like NBA tall. I think he was like 6'5" or something. And he was taller than everybody his entire life. And so it caught, everybody and everything was below him, literally. And so he walked around like this because everybody was, and everything was like down here. And so he gets up to sing and he's here. And now it's blocking everything off, right? So just that mere awareness, because it concaves this, and it's gonna interfere with the inhale, which we're gonna talk about next. So just starting to understand what are my habits? How do I live in my body? How do I use my body? So that we can start to break those patterns, so that what I teach you here is much more effective when you embody it. Okay, so let's now talk about the inhale. I'm gonna take some agua. Okay, so as I started to mention to you, your lungs are mostly in your back. I mean, if you can think of like anatomy from like 9th grade in high school, right? Like your lungs stop here in the front, which is why your ribs stop here, because the rib cage is there to protect your lungs. But your lungs go all the way down here in the back, which is why your ribs go all the way down in the back to protect the lungs. So when we talk about the inhale, most people forget about the back body, that's where the lungs live. And so most singers, without realizing it, are focused on pulling the air in here. And what that looks like is a breath that looks like this. But I'm all up here now. You know what I'm saying? And I haven't connected to what's in my back and all that lung and all that capacity that's back there for you to access. So your lungs are in your back. So just as we talk about this conversation of inhale, start to, focus, don't even worry about this. Don't even worry about it. Like the inhale, we're talking about a few things. We're talking about back body, and we're talking about the idea of let the breath come in instead of take a breath. So I hate, and if you follow my content, you may have heard me say this, I hate the phrase take a breath, because it implies a grabbing. And it also implies kind of a violence, a doing, So take a breath. oh my God, but where did that go? It went right here. And look, I'm all in tension and like I'm all up here, right? And that doesn't serve me because number one, I didn't get as much air as I could have gotten. And number two, now I'm all in tension. And tension is the enemy of the singer. So I hate when people say take a breath because the language that we use around these things to direct ourselves really matters. Instead, I want you to start to use that phrase, let the breath come in. So somebody tell me, just go ahead and unmute. How is the energy of let different than the energy of take? Somebody unmute and tell me how you feel that differently. How's the energy of let different than the energy of take?
Hi. I feel like with take, it's an anxiety, like I gotta hurry and get it. And I never thought about just let. Let is something easy, like the ocean or something. Let. So
yes. And Darcy, you want to add to that?
Yeah, it's easy or harsh. It's letting it flow or forcing it.
Good. And Alyssa, I saw you unmuted too.
The path of least resistance.
Right. Take there, it introduces resistance as well. So all of this is really important, okay? Because let me start with take. Take has an aspect of over control, of forcing, of grabbing, of all the things that you said, versus let, there's an energy of unfolding about it. There's an energy of trust about it. You guys know how to freaking breathe. You breathe all day, every day, and you have since you came into the planet, okay? And the life breath, the way that you breathe all day, every day, unless somebody has like a massive like somatic disconnect and they don't actually breathe in a way that serves them, 99% of you guys, the way you breathe all day, every day is the same way we want you to breathe for singing, just more consciously, okay? So you trust that you know how to breathe. You don't think about it. You just do it. And the air comes in and that's it. And the reason I'm bringing up trust is because let has an aspect of trust to it. You're just gonna let your body, let the air come in, let your body do what it already knows how to do. It's all the taking and the forcing and the manipulating on the inhale that pulls us into that contraction because we're trying to force it, because we don't trust that we're gonna get enough air. But I guarantee you, if you walked around just doing your grocery shopping or waiting for the bus or whatever, the way that a lot of you guys breathe, you pass out in like less than a minute, okay? So understanding that the breath is a release. It's not a doing, okay? And this is how I want you to understand this and feel this release, okay? What you're gonna do is you're gonna get rid of all your air. You're gonna squeeze your breath out. You're gonna like until there's nothing left, okay? And then what you're gonna do is you're not gonna think about taking a breath or grabbing air or bringing air into your body. You're gonna blow all your air out, and then all you're gonna do is release your belly, release your back, release your ribs, release your throat, release your jaw, just release your body and see what happens, okay? So it's gonna be like, okay? Don't worry about the air. I want you to focus on release my body, okay? So blow all your air out, get rid of it, squeeze it out, squeeze it out, squeeze it out until you got nothing left and your body is saying breathe, and then just open your body. Yeah. Yeah. Who wants to be the guinea pig and do this with me unmuted? Somebody go ahead and unmute.
I'll be a guinea pig.
Okay, hey Andy, let's do it. Okay, so get rid of all your air, squeeze it all out, blow it all out, get rid of it, and then just let your body open and let the air come in.
Wait, am I like squeezing it all out like out breath?
Yeah, on the out breath. Like get rid of it until your like mind is going breathe. Okay. Okay. So there's one part of Andy's body that doesn't want to release. Andy, are you present to what it was? There was one part of your body that didn't want to open up.
My throat, maybe?
Yeah. It was throat and it was jaw. So I'm gonna exaggerate. And when you guys get the recording back, like Andy, rewind this and go watch this part again and watch for what I'm gonna show you. Okay. So this is what happened. Like jaw and throat didn't want to open and release. You released beautifully down here. All this released and let go. But so let's do it again. Blow all your air out and be very intentional. Connect brain to body about the direction, which is just let go, open. Okay, try it. Squeeze it out. Get rid of it all. Blow out all your air until there's nothing left. And then open your body. Okay, that one was better. Jaw let go, but throat still didn't want to. So you guys, you know how I can tell? I mean, not just that you can see it, but also there's a different sound quality to when somebody is inhaling with just an open release space versus when somebody is not. So again, I'm going to exaggerate, but when it's not, and this still wants to control, because the reason this is holding on, Andy, is because this wants to control the inhale. It thinks it's grabbing air and bringing it in for you. Okay. And what that sounds like is, you see, I was open here, but you still heard, because this is trying to grab and pull air in, as opposed to what just a release breath sounds like is, because I'm opening my throat. Okay, so you did one better this time. Your jaw let go and you opened here and you opened down here. Let's see if we can get throat on board. So what would you have to believe in order for your body to just totally let go and open up and let air come in?
It's okay to be vulnerable.
Ding, 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 ding. It's self-protective, right? It's like, I want to control this. Okay. Okay. So this is the safe space, right? You guys, like, this is the space where we get to experiment and we get to fail forward. Like, you get to mess up and it's all good, because that's how we know what dials we need to tweak to get where we want. So mantra for this class, guys, is I dare you to mess it up. I dare you to fail. Triple dog dare you. So if you have full permission to mess it up and it's totally safe to be vulnerable and do that, how would you inhale? I don't know. Blow all your air out and see. Try it. Okay, I want to give you permission to slow down, Andy. So there's a little thing in your brain, I guarantee you, that is saying, like, get it all right now.
Yeah.
Right? Like, as opposed to luxuriating in the time and the space that you get, because there's plenty of air. And your job is not to grab it. Your job is to let go and release, and the air will come into your body. Why? Because it's a vacuum. When the air pressure inside your lungs is different than the air pressure outside of your body, because now there's no more air in there, you don't have to take a breath. You don't have to help the air come into your body. It wants to. It's the law of equilibrium. It's high school physics, guys. Law of equilibrium. Remember, 11th grade, right? Which is that the gas on both sides of a membrane wants to equalize. So if the air pressure on one side of the membrane is different than the air pressure on the other side, it wants to equalize. So when the air pressure inside your lungs and your body is different than the air pressure outside, you don't have to help the air come in. You don't. All you got to do is let go and open up, and the air will come in. It is not your job. You don't have to do anything else, okay? So we get to slow down and luxuriate in that process. So it's a release. Slow down and give your body time to just let go. Don't worry about pulling air in. You don't have to do that. Mother Nature's got that done for you. Do it one more time and see what happens. Give yourself permission to slow down. Luxuriate. Let the air come in. You don't. Yes. And did you guys see that it went into Annie's back? Like, you could actually see that here. What was that like for you? What did that feel like?
like for me, it was like holding space at the end of the breath for just like nothingness,
Yeah, because you don't have to do it. It,
and then
it is,
waiting for the right moment, to let the breath come back in gently.
yeah. So for right now, give yourself that time and space to teach your body that it doesn't need to just jump in and grab right away. And then eventually your body will trust, oh, I can let go and do this and it's safe. I get plenty of air. And then you'll be able to do that more quickly so that you can and not have to have that extra time. But for right now, that time is your friend because you're training your body not to immediately react for the grab. Make sense?
Uh-huh.
Yes, good, good. Gary, I see you had unmuted as well. Do you have a question about this?
Yeah, I guess when you get used to this, and you've trained your body to trust, and you need extra air for those longer
You don't.
sustained notes,
You don't.
you don't.
No, here's why.
Uh,
Because we haven't gotten to that part of the process yet. Okay.
all right. So I was just wondering if at that point, do you let more air in?
Well, so if you have a long phrase, let's say you have like a 6-bar phrase, right? That if you're not making it to the end of the phrase, it's not because you didn't get enough air. If you're allowing the breath to come in this way, this is the way you get the most air because you're not contracting. Because when you go, right, you're contracting and then you don't get as much air because you've closed the trachea by all of the grab. That's why we get that sound, because there's more wind resistance because we've closed the space that the air is coming into. So when we've fixed it like what Andy was doing and now we're totally open, we're getting the most amount of air. You're getting the full capacity that you need to. If you're not making it to the end of the phrase, odds are it's not because you didn't get enough air if you're breathing this way. It's because you're not managing the air that you do have over the duration of the phrase that you need to sing it. And that's what all this is for, that we're going to get into more deeply in a minute. Okay. So now that said, we only have as much air as we have, and we only have as much support as we have. And so if it's an 8-bar phrase and that's just not what your body can do, then you got to find a place in the middle to breathe. It's not really that complicated, but good question. Okay. So the inhale, you understand how to release, but let's also talk about the lungs in the back, because I really want you guys to feel this. So the way that I love to coach singers into this is by doing a ragdoll. And so what I mean by ragdoll is like flopping forward and kind of hanging like this. Give your knees a little bend and let your head pull out the weight of your neck. Let your arms pull out the weight of your shoulders. And then take a nose breath into your back. And feel almost as though like somebody's got their hands on your back, and really flop forward, like really dangle. Because I want you to send your inhale into your back and feel your back expanding towards the ceiling. And this is the best way to feel it. So a nose breath, and you can watch my back as I do it. If you can see me, am I in the frame right now?
Disappeared. Oh.
It's stupid background sometimes. Okay, so watch my back. You guys see that? So I'm taking a nose breath and I really feel the air, like I'm sending the air up towards the ceiling, and I can really feel the air on the inhale going into my back when I'm in this dangling position. And make sure you release your neck. Don't hold your head. Like really release your neck and let your head hang heavy. So do a few of these, guys, so you can really feel the sensation of sending the breath into the back. Like imagine somebody has their palms on your back ribs. Send the breath into their palms. Yeah. And let yourself just dangle and hang, and a couple nose breaths into your back. Yeah, I can see you guys. Those of you who are on camera, that's good. Okay, so roll up. Okay. And now just stay standing. And when you're standing, even though you're not in ragdoll position anymore, Do the same kind of nose breath and send the breath into your back in the exact same way that you did when you were dangling, but now you're standing. And see if you can really feel that breath sending it into your back in the same way that you did when you were in the ragdoll. Yep. And what you'll notice is when you really send the breath into the back, you'll notice how much expansion you get three-dimensionally. So when I'm really sending the breath into the back, like if you watch me here, you're going to see the kind of expansion that happens. Watch. You see how everything went, the shoulders didn't come up. It didn't get up here, right? If you feel it coming above your armpits, you're over breathing. I want you to feel that the breath drops into your back this way. Like it drops in like that. Okay? And when it does that, you feel this massive buoyancy of the ribs just opening up. Yeah, and you will feel that so much more. And you can even do it, put your arm around your lat, like under across your chest, and hold, and just let the other arm be normal, but hold your back lat and really send the breath into your hand. And you'll feel your ribs expand past your hand if you're doing it that way. Yeah. Yeah, Darcy, make sure you're not arching your back. Take your hand that's up like this and let it be, move it down. Yep, because if you do that, you're gonna arch, and we don't want that because that's gonna cut you off, okay? So just leave your hand down and just feel yourself around your back. Find your back ribs and find your lat as much as you can. Yep, and send the breath into your hand. Yep, this is good. Okay. Anybody not feeling it in their back? Okay, good, because that's important. Okay, so when we're talking about the inhale, just to recap, okay, let the breath come in. No more grabbing and taking of breaths. Let the breath come in. The inhale is a release. It is not a doing. That's what Andy was experiencing, what it felt like to have the inhale be a release. And right now, some of you might need a little more time for your body to let go, to feel safe and vulnerable in that release. That's okay. Give it that time as you're building this foundation, okay?
I have a question.
Yeah, go ahead, Darcy.
Sorry.
This
is crazy. I just noticed doing all of this, I was yawning a lot. But the more I yawned, the more open I became. So I don't know what's happening.
Don't overthink it. Your body is just it's noticing and feeling new things as you bring in air. Don't overthink it. It's fine. Yeah, don't even worry about it. So a couple of pitfalls, guys, when it comes to the inhale. First, I was mentioning before, if you feel the breath getting above your armpits, you're over breathing because the lungs, they stop here. So I can expand if you watch my, let me go back so I can see where I am. If you watch my container, okay, I can expand beautifully on a nice back body breath. Now that's plenty. Now I can keep going. But if I keep going, I'm getting all up in here, which is now tension. Okay, so that's number one pitfall to be aware of. If you feel it above your armpits, you're over breathing. Okay. Second thing is no belly breathing. So I don't know if any of you were taught, oh, for singing, you need belly breathing. And, I've heard people say, oh, I'm going to put the breath in my belly. Well, okay, I get why they think that because we don't want to be up in the shoulders. I get that. But this is your stomach. You do not have lungs in your belly. This is not where the breath goes. This is where the breath goes. Okay? So this, don't even worry about it. Your belly will pooch out when you breathe. That's natural because why? The diaphragm, remember this dome-shaped diaphragm, when you inhale, it inverts to become a dome to make room for the lungs. And when it inverts to become a dome, it pushes down on your intestines and your liver and your stomach, and there's nowhere else for those things to go except out. So that's why you feel your belly move out when you inhale, but don't focus on it. Because otherwise, what you're going to end up doing is you're going to ignore your back, you're going to ignore your expansion, and you're just going to go like this. But I'm not actually getting air. I'm just pooching my belly out. So don't worry about your belly. Okay. Your only job on the inhale when it comes to all these muscles that we talked about is to release them, to let them go. So that brings me to the third pitfall of the inhale, which is making sure that you release that flex so that, we just talked a little bit about the shush the dog flex right now, which we're going to get into more in a minute. That flex, you got to release that. You got to let that go on the inhale. Because try it. Engage those muscles, flex those muscles, keep them flexed, and now try to breathe. And it all goes right up here. Okay? So making sure that all of these muscles, you just let them go when you inhale. Okay? Okay. So now let's go back to the flex of the support. Okay? We did the shush the dog. So I want you to come back to here with your hands, putting your hands on your obliques. The reason that I like the obliques is because when the obliques fire and flex, everything else pretty much does too. So that engagement of that gentle out and down feeling, that gentle flex feeling of the shush the dog, I want you to feel that over a duration on a hiss. So, like just an S sound. So you're going to put that hiss and you're going to hiss into your palms, okay? Like, so I feel these oblique muscles gently flexing into my palm over the duration of the hiss, which is creating the duration of the hiss. So do a few hisses. You can feel hands here. And what you want to make sure you feel is that you're flexing the hiss and flowing through that flex instead of contracting. So what we don't want is, we don't want that. Okay, notice how stable my container of support is as I hiss. Watch me. Like I'm just there and I'm leaning into this feeling, okay? Try that in your own body, guys. Does anybody want to play with this with me on the camera? Yeah, Alyssa? Okay, let's see. Can you do me one favor? Can you tilt your screen just ever so slightly so I see a little more of you? Cool. Okay, back up a little bit. Beautiful. Okay, let's see. Okay, let's do it again. And I want you to visualize that these muscles, that you're like sitting into the palms of your hands. And you don't need to whack it to start. You know what I'm saying? Like you don't need to hit that flex to start. It's something that I want you to like sit into, lean into. Okay, try it. Yes! How does that feel different to you?
It's so small, but such a big difference. Like, I want to make my hands be the muscles first.
Yeah.
So like, I'll just do one. So like, if I was contracting, it feels like it's going this way, like in, but when I'm like flexing so slightly, I feel them like curving out into the palm of my hand a little bit. And I feel like a little bit like of something happening here, like not a lot, but just like enough.
Yeah, it is. And what the distinction is, guys, right? Because what I talk about a lot, like when I'm coaching the singers in our intensive program, is the idea of the quarter that gets the gumball. Okay, what's the idea? What's the thought? What's the intention that you put in that gets you the metaphorical gumball, the outcome, right? And so for you, what was the quarter that got the gumball? Here.
It was definitely my mind, allowing and not pushing, like let it happen, and really like feeling my body.
Right, being present to the moment of
Yeah.
what you're doing. And what I said to you was, you don't need to whack it. It doesn't require a big oomph. It's that sit into, that lean into. Because you guys, again, the words that we talk to ourselves around these things matter. Because your body is only ever responding to and reacting to what your brain is telling it. And sometimes you're conscious of what you're telling it, and sometimes you're not. I don't think you were consciously telling it whack, but I think you do. I think you probably were consciously telling it, okay, go. And that's like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so it was an overdoing. right? You don't need to whack it. It's just gently sit into it. And that's what allowed you the directional change of being able to go this way instead of this way. Okay. So let's do a few more, and let's do 3 in a row, and maybe 3 or 4 beats for each hiss. And then you're going to inhale into your back, and you're going to release this, right? So this is release, and then everything opens up, breath comes into your back, and then engage and hiss again. So let's do 3 in a row. Does that make sense?
Am I still focusing on the flex out?
Right, always. So if you're moving air, your focus is flexing down and out. If you're inhaling, your focus is release and open up.
Okay.
So there's the on, which is when we're hissing. There's the on, and then there's the off when we're inhaling. So the hissing is the flex is the on, the inhale is the release, and the let the air come in.
Okay.
Okay, try. Good. Now let the breath come in and release the support. Good. Nice back body breath. There you go. Good. Now release and let the air come in. Good. Now question, Alyssa. Do you notice how much air you have left over at the end of each hiss? Right? You guys, she's got so much air left over because she's being super efficient now with her air, because here's what's happening. As she continues to flex into these over the duration of the hiss, because that flex and lean is what creates the steady hiss, what she's doing is she's keeping her diaphragm low and moving very slow. So it's not moving a ton of air. So at the end of the 3 beats or so of the hiss, she's got a lot of air left. So she doesn't, Alyssa, you don't have to tank up, okay? Whatever air you've used, let's say you used 30% of your capacity, when you release these muscles, and like when I was talking to Andy, when you release the body, whatever 30% you used up will just fill back up. You don't have to do anything more, okay? Making sense to you? Good, okay. Anybody else want to check in with me on the hiss? Yeah,
I'll do
Gary.
it. Okay. I'm sitting in the car.
Okay,
so
if you're
hopefully
don't lean back, sit up on
Right.
your sits bones. Come forward,
Okay.
don't get sucked into the bucket seat, okay? If you can sit up as much as you possibly can, be straight, and so you're not pitched back,
Okay.
okay?
Okay.
Okay, so I see an immediate collapse. What I see is this. I see, like, you see my everything here is going, okay? So this is
Right.
a great opportunity for me to talk about the next piece of this. So thank you. So we understand that this needs to be consistently flexing down and out. Okay, but you'll notice that my ribs are very stable, right? Because I expanded into my back body, and you saw my ribs expand. I'll do it again. Now you notice that I'm talking to you, but my ribs are still expanded. I'm still talking to you. I can count to 25, and I'm not here, okay? See, that's what we don't want that. What we want is to feel the ribs nice and buoyant, because there are 2 things that can sabotage and flood way too much air out. It's contracting here, which pushes the diaphragm up and pushes too much air out. So we understand how not to do that now, right? And it's also contracting here and pushing the ribs in, or letting them fold in accidentally, which then, I mean, if you think of where your diaphragm is, if the ribs push in, it pushes the diaphragm up, and the heavy bones of ribs contract around lungs, and that pushes way too much air out, okay? So I want you guys to think and imagine that you have like a belt that's buckled one size too big, or ladies, you're wearing like a strapless bra or a strapless bathing suit, and it's hooked one size too big, and you have to fill it out or else it's going to fall down. So you breathe, and now that's filled out, and now that belt is not going to fall down. Can you guys play with that image for a second? So as you hiss, these muscles and these muscles between the ribs are also gently flexing out and down. So as you hiss, Don't let the bathing suit or the belt fall down because you've collapsed. So Gary, when you watch the recording back to what you did just 2 minutes ago, I want you to watch your rib container because you're going to see this. And you've just gotten rid of all your air. Nothing is supporting that, okay? So I want you guys to hiss and hiss into the belt or hiss into the strapless bathing suit. Don't let it fall down. Like I feel the entire container of everything kind of just like three-dimensionally leaning out. See if you can play with that in your own body, Gary. Try it. Yeah, that's better. And you know, it's interesting because you're sitting down. Do you feel the back of the chair of the car, of the seat? It's
Yeah.
almost like I want you to keep your body in the chair. Don't let your back ribs recede away from the chair. Yeah. Resist. Yes. What do you notice about that?
I could, on the letting in, I could feel the bucket, the back of the seat fill
Yeah.
up, right? I can feel the back
Yep.
fill the bucket seat, basically.
But what happened when you were
And
hissing?
when I'm hissing, yeah, it's sort of a down and out, lean sort of apogeo
Yeah.
kind of thing. Yeah,
But what did you notice about your back when you were hissing? Did it recede away from the seat or did it stay in the seat?
it stayed in the seat.
Yes, that's what we want.
Right.
Okay? Because again, you guys, breath support is all about stability and consistency. If every time you hiss, either this is collapsing or this is pushing in, now you don't have that steady, stable consistency. It becomes a flood. Like think about a flag in a gentle breeze. That gentle, steady breeze oscillates the flag really consistently and beautifully. A flag in a hurricane, it's like, you know, and it just like it can't oscillate. So what you're doing here is you're creating a very narrow, very focused, very steady stream of air by keeping the diaphragm low and slow with these muscles and keeping the ribs just nice and buoyant and resisting that feeling of folding in, because these are the two things that create sabotage. Because you got to think about like what I call the midline, which is from like heart space to above your larynx, and your larynx lives like right in the center of this midline, okay? And for our purposes, because there's stuff above the midline that matters too, but we're not getting into that today. Everything below the midline is the stuff that's engaged in support, okay? And your job is to move everything away from the midline so that it's not encumbered. So all of this here, if the muscles are moving up, if the ribs are moving in, if the diaphragm is pushing up, everything is going up towards this, which affects the steady stream, which affects everything and now creates tension here because everything is going this way. So your job is to like, you know, it's almost like you're a human beach ball and feel like everything is going this way. Okay, so that was a good example of that, Gary. Anybody else have a question about feeling? If you're trying to feel if you're collapsing the rib, you can do that again by being here. Breathe into your hand and then hiss into your hand, this hand, and do your best, you know, to notice, am my ribs collapsing away from my hand really quickly? Or do I feel myself leaning into my hand as I hiss? Now, there's a caveat here, which is eventually your ribs will fold in, okay? Like, but once you're like 65-70% of the way through your air, and your job is to prevent that for as long as possible. Okay, so what we don't want is an immediate like collapse. You know what I'm saying? But just to know that it will gently happen, you know, that's okay, because otherwise you're just going to get into like massive tension trying to muscle your ribs out, and it's like, you know, which we don't want. Okay, so that's my caveat there. Does anybody else want to check in about the ribs and see how this is feeling? Yeah, go ahead.
So sometimes I'm realizing maybe if I get a little tired, when I'm inhaling or trying to let my air in, my shoulders might be going up a little bit.
Okay, you mean on the inhale as you're focusing on the inhale? Let me see. Okay. Um, everybody's body is a little different. I see this expanding, but I don't see tension. Like I don't see, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
so I don't hate what's going on. I think it's fine.
Okay.
It's like if you start to feel it, like that's beautiful what you just did. That's plenty. I think
Okay, so that's
yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. I didn't
Okay.
know that.
Why was there something that somebody told you?
Oh yeah, you do this.
Well, here's the thing. You might, in the context of a song when you're not present to it, you might be doing that. And that's not okay, right? But the best antidote to that is to visualize the breath pouring down and into your back. So I know a lot of people have this image of filling up, which means filling up, which we
Yeah.
don't want. The way that I visualize it is I visualize like releasing my body. And so I now have this giant open container and the air just like pours in and down. That's a very different image than quote filling up.
Wow, yeah.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
that would be a good one for you to play with as you practice all of this. Okay, good. Awesome. Okay, so now that we understand the container of the support, we understand how to release on the inhale, how to lean into the container on the exhale. Now we're going to talk about appoggio, okay? So you guys may have heard me talk about appoggio, or you may have heard others talk about appoggio, or you may have no freaking idea what appoggio is. Appoggio is the classical Italianate way of teaching and describing breath support. And what appoggio means in Italian is it means to lean. Or in Spanish, apoyar, to lean. Okay? So appoggio, the way that most opera singers who, are the best at breath support are taught breath support is they're taught this concept of appoggio. But guys, you don't have to be an opera singer. Good support is not just for opera singers, right? Support is support, it's support. It doesn't matter if you're singing country or musical theater or jazz or opera or pop, it doesn't matter, okay? So the concept of appoggio, this idea of to lean, is what we've been talking about in the last 10 minutes of the flex. So you understood a moment of the flex when we did the shh, right? And now you understood flexing over a duration, and the way that appoggio thinks about it is all of the muscles and the container that we were just talking about, like I was describing to Gary. We want to create the container by releasing the belly and really finding the expansion of the ribs. And then we want to use all the muscles that we were just talking about before, and the muscles, intercostal muscles between ribs, to lean on that container. So it's like imagining you just created this beautiful corset, and now as you, on the inhale, and then as you phonate or hiss or lip trill or whatever you're doing, you're leaning into that container that you just created rather than contracting or receding away from it. But the cool thing that I like about the idea of lean is it's like an ongoing process, right? Like if I'm leaning on something, my weight is constantly moving towards it, as opposed to, another way of thinking about your support, which might be the idea of flex. Flex is kind of like a one-time thing. It's like you do it, but lean is something we're moving through, we're flowing through. Like if I think about leaning on somebody's shoulder, my weight is consistently flowing in that direction, okay? So the same thing, leaning on your support is like what I was talking to Gary about, is creating and then leaning through this resistance. So he felt it on his back because he had the seat of the car that he could breathe into, and then lean up against so that his ribs and his back didn't contract and push air out and stop supporting him. So the consistency of the lean is what is the most important thing, meaning the consistency of flowing through that flex over the duration of the phrase is the most important thing, okay? So sometimes, well, let me rewind. Let's do some lip trills and then I'll go speak to what I was going to speak to in a minute. So the best way to start to feel how the body does this, right? So you felt it on a consistent hiss. So doing this, like as you practice on your own after the boot camp is done tomorrow and moving into the future, hissing first without sound and feeling yourself, making sure, and I like to practice with one arm here and, sorry, with one arm here and one hand here. So I'm feeling the expansion on the inhale and I'm monitoring myself to make sure that I'm not collapsing as I hiss. And I've got my hand here, making sure that I'm releasing on the inhale, and then I'm flexing into my hand on the exhale. So releasing ribs, releasing belly on the inhale, and then engaging and flexing into both palms as I hiss. So I would practice a few of those. And then I'm gonna add lip trills. Some people love lip trills, some people hate them. I love them. To me, it is the most fundamental exercise for instilling support because the vibration of your lips approximates the vibration of your vocal cords. Meaning, if your breath support is not consistent and supportive in the way it needs to be, you will know right away because your lip trill, the vibration of your lips will be compromised. And you'll know right away because it won't feel the same or the sound will stop. So a lip trill, for those of you who aren't familiar, is just motorboat lips. Okay, so coming back into this position, I want you to hiss into your hands, and then I want you to do a one-note lip trill. You can pick any pitch you want, doesn't matter to me. And the key here is making sure that when you hiss into your hands and then you do the lip trill, that you do not change how you're using your body. So that flex and lean on the hiss is exactly the same as what you're gonna do on the lip trill. Do not change how you're using your body, okay? So who wants to be a guinea pig here? Let's do a few. Who hasn't been a guinea pig yet?
Oh, I'll wait.
Okay, thank you. Who hasn't been a guinea pig yet? Guys, don't be shy. Oh. Somebody go ahead and unmute. Doesn't matter. Who hasn't been a guinea pig yet? Okay.
I was going to ask if you could show us again the exercise.
Yes, I will. And I see Michael wants to do it. So Michael, go ahead and
Oh.
unmute and I'll show you guys. Okay, so all we're doing is we're going back and forth between, wait, I just want to make sure that I see myself in the screen. We're going back and forth between the hiss and the lip trill. So we're going to go and the way that I'm flexing into both hands, meaning I'm keeping the belt from falling down and I'm flexing through my palm, is the same on the hiss than it is on the lip trill. It's exactly the same. Michael, you want to try it? Wait, I think you're still muted. Go ahead and unmute, Michael. You're still muted. I don't know if he's hearing me. Michael, Michael, you're still unmuted. You got to unmute. Wait, now you are muted. You got to unmute. Do you see this on the screen? I just asked you to unmute. Michael, you're still muted. You were muted. There you go. Say something.
Okay.
There you go. Now I can hear you. Okay, beautiful. Okay, so hold on. Take a few steps back just so I can make sure I can see a little more of you. Yeah, back up. Are you able to, and you can raise the screen just a little bit so that I can see if you tilt the screen up just a little bit. You're able to do that? Are you hearing me okay?
Can you see me?
I can. I was just asking you to tilt the screen a little bit so I could see.
Tilt the screen. Okay.
Yeah, so I could see a little more of your head. Okay, now stand up straight. Find your alignment. Okay. Yes. So one thing. Right now, you're in your armpit. I don't want you in your armpit. Okay. I want you around, as much around to feel your back lat as you can. Yep. Now, relax your shoulder. Just let your shoulders relax. And other hand on your oblique, not in the center, on the side. So find your hip bone, and you're right above your hip bone. On the other side. There you go. So it's this diagonal muscle that goes from right above your hip bone to right down towards your pelvis. Okay, so put your
Okay.
palm there. Make sure your palm is on it. Is your palm on it?
I think so. Tell me
Okay.
where it is again. Just
It's so if you feel where the bone of your hip bone is,
okay.
your
Okay.
palm is right above it on the diagonal down.
Okay.
Yeah, where and making sure that your palm is that you're feeling your flat hand. Yep. Okay, now relax your shoulder and pull your hand down a little bit towards your hip, a little bit more down. Move this hand down a little bit more. There you go. Okay, now relax your shoulders. Okay, good. So we're gonna go back and forth, and you're gonna hiss and lip trill. So you're gonna go hissing into your hands, and then into your hands. Try it. Wait, do the hiss first. Do the hiss first.
So I'm not sure what you want me to do. Say it again.
I just want you to hiss. Don't worry about the lip trill. So just a hiss into your palms.
Okay.
And feel that lean into your hands.
Okay.
Just a hiss.
How is that?
I didn't see you hiss. Did you hiss?
Did I what?
Did you hiss?
Oh, hiss. Okay.
Yes, yes. Okay, that's not a hiss.
Well,
I want an S. I want an S sound, like a snake.
oh, a hiss.
Yes. Good. Hiss into your hands. Feel the resistance of your body. Don't let your body contract. Lean into your hands.
Okay.
Good. Good. What do you notice under your hands? What do you feel?
I feel it leading into my hip bone. Yeah.
Into your palms?
Yeah, palm. Yes, it's going into the palm.
Good. Okay. That feeling, okay? Do not change that feeling. Well, how would you describe that? Is it a feeling of like resistance? Is it a feeling of like what? Is there an image? How do you describe that?
I don't know. Attention a little? No.
Yeah. So to me, the word that I like is resistance because
Okay.
it's like that has a little bit different, again, energy than tense, right? But it
Okay.
is. It's a
Okay.
resistance. You're not letting yourself collapse. You're not abdicating your body. You're
Right.
trying to stay in that open lean, okay? Now, that exact feeling and how you created that by that lean, do not change that just because now we're going to put it on a lip trill. So, into your hands.
I can't do a lip roll, I don't think. Yeah.
Okay,
I
so
cannot do a lip roll.
okay, can you roll an R? Can you roll an R like a?
No. I
Okay,
can.
go back to the lip trill.
Okay.
And I want you to think of a B. Okay? And that's how you're going to start your lip trill, by thinking of a B. But the lip trill, guys, the lip trill is created down here. Okay? So let me see what happens when you think B, and I want you to visualize lots of tiny little bees floating around in your container. And your job is to tap one of those bees and lean on it so it just comes up and out.
You want me to make the buzz sound, like the bee sound?
That's how you're gonna do the onset. That's just how you're gonna start. Think b.
I can't do
Okay,
it.
but I don't think you're moving air.
Okay.
You need to remember the lean is what creates the air to
Oh, I
move
see.
out, right?
Okay.
Move your air.
Yeah.
Okay, so and you guys, this is really common. Okay, this is like lip trills are not easy for some. Okay, if you just let your hands come down for a second. If you were playing with my 10-year-old and you guys were playing motorboats, or you were playing like race cars and you were going like brum, 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 brum. How would you do that if you were going to play motorboats or race cars?
Me?
Yeah.
I'm not.
But this is good. It's good in a way because
Great.
what if you notice, Michael, when you go back and you watch this, and guys, if you notice his body, he's not doing any. You're not doing anything here. You're contracted and you're boop, 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 and you're trying to create it from here. Okay, it's not created from here. This is a giant open channel, and what's going to allow the lips to vibrate is the steady, focused stream same stream that you created on the hiss. But right now you're not using your body the same way on the lip trill as you did on the hiss. So feel the hiss again. Feel that feeling of moving your air through resistance. Flow through and feel what that feels like. Do it again. Are you hissing?
Oh, hissing.
Yes. Okay, so that wasn't what you did a minute ago. That was a collapse. That was, okay? We hiss into your hands. Create that belt that I've said, that's, don't let the belt fall down. Try again. Yep, keep your alignment. Focus on what's in front of you. Do it one more time. Yes, feel your back body. Hiss through your back. Okay, good. Now, how do you notice that you're using your body differently right now than what happens when you try to lip trill?
Getting more air in and then out, or
Okay, so let's try. Put your hands back there and use your body to lean right into your hands in the same way. And I want you to lip trill. Go for it. Don't overthink it. But do you notice how your ribs immediately collapse?
what?
Do you notice how your ribs immediately collapsed?
Oh.
Don't let them collapse. Put the lip trill right into your hand, right into this hand that's right here. Yeah, but that's a big collapse. That's this. And that, you guys, this is why he's having trouble with the lip trills. So even though it's frustrating because you're not getting it yet, Michael, it's actually really good because we can see exactly what's going on with the support here, which is why the lip trill isn't coming out. Because guys, when he does the hiss, he finds his container and he sets his container and he's got his apoyo and he leans into it and it's stable and it's consistent. But now all of a sudden we got to make sound. We got to do a lip trill, something that makes him feel it's different in his mind. His mind is making it different. And so now he's using his body differently and it's sabotaging what he wants. Because if you're gonna, I can't do a lip trill either because it's a giant flood.
Oh.
It's pushing with this pushing in and this pushing in, and it's pushing way too much air out, and it can't vibrate the lips.
Okay.
It's the flag in a hurricane. It can't oscillate. It's too much air. Okay, as opposed to what you created on the hiss, that's a much different volume of air and velocity of air. So being able to find the sorry guys, my words are leaving my brain. Being able to find the consistency between how you use your body on the hiss, and then it's the exact same way you use your body on the lip trill. That's the bridge for you right now, Michael, that I want you to work on. And it'll be much easier for you to see when you go back and you watch the recording of this, because you'll really be able to see exactly what's going on and it'll help you fix it. Okay, good guinea pig. Anybody else wanna do some lip trills and see what's going on? Yeah, okay.
Lip trill.
So when you find, so I want you to find your breath carrying the same way you did before, where you were really feeling your back, okay? And when you're hissing, you were really not letting yourself collapse. You were staying nice and buoyant and finding that apoyo, finding that lean into your body, okay? Good. Good. Yes. What do you notice about that?
Yeah, between the hiss and the lip trill, I feel the lean.
You feel the consistency.
I can feel it coming out on the sides and the front.
Good. You feel that consistency. That's what we want.
Yeah.
Okay. So now, guys, the next piece of this is moving pitch on the lip trill without collapsing the container of support. Okay. So we're going to do a simple 1-5-1, which is this. Whoops, get out of the way. And here's the kicker. What we want is, as we change pitch, we do not want to change that support. So when we talk about support, we're talking about the consistent, gentle lean out and down, no matter what direction the pitch is going, no matter that we're changing pitch, no matter that nothing changes in this just because pitch is changing up here, okay? You change pitch with your brain, not with your body. If you think up, you will go up. If you think down, you will go down. But what a lot of singers do is they do this. And they try to push that pitch up. But what would happen is the same thing that was happening to Michael, which is now we get a flood and the lip trill will stop because it's too much air. So you guys, what lip trills are teaching you is how to manage your support for the exact right volume and the exact right velocity of air. So here's how we do the exercise. We do 1-5-1, which sounds like this. Okay, so I'm going to do it, and I want you to do it with me. And there are 3 things that I want you to focus on. The first is the release of the inhale, right? So we talked about 15 minutes ago. Every time, right before the lip trill that you're going to start, release your belly, let the air come in to your back, okay? That's the release. That's the off on the inhale. Then, to start the lip trill, go right down into this feeling here, okay? That's the second thing I want you to think. And as you do the slide up and down on the pitch, your job, what creates the rise in pitch is the consistent lean here. Do not go, that ain't gonna work, okay? I'm like a train on a track. So don't think that each pitch is like some separate individual thing. This is not 3 pitches. This is one thing. If I think of it as one thing, I will stay consistent here. If I think of it as 3 things, I will hit my lean 3 times. But that's not consistent, is it? That's on, off, on, off, on, off. That's the legs of the metaphorical table going like this. And your lip trill will be affected, okay? So we're going to go up and down. But I want you to do it along with me. And if I'm going to go all the way up, drop out. If we get too high for your range, that's okay. I'm just going to, since all of you are kind of different ranges, I'm just going to go all the way up and you do it until it's comfortable for you, okay? So that's as high as we're going to go right now. That's G natural. So talk to me. How was that for you guys? Somebody unmute. Tell me what you noticed as you were doing it. Somebody I haven't heard from in a minute. Yes, Darcy.
The more we did it, the more relaxed I became and the looser my lips became and the easier it was to let it flow out.
Good. Part of that is because you started to trust more. Seriously, because if your lips are trying to grab and force and do, it's because it's trying to manage how much air is coming out. But if the more efficient you get here and the more consistent you get by keeping the diaphragm low and slow, now you're managing the air from down here, and up here is like, oh, I don't have to control this. I can just let it go. And now, because I've got that foundation, I'm good. Yeah. So good. Well done. Alyssa.
I felt both things happen. Like initially when I started, it felt, good. I felt like the flexing happened, but I did feel like I was like focusing too much on like focus on the pitch, and then I was like, no, like the mind, like you said, what the mind can think of, like it'll just happen. So I just let it happen, and like I felt more freeness here. Um and it just felt more relaxed and like less like the least amount of like work.
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
So you guys, like, a lip trill, I when once you really get it and can do it just like the back of a hand, you know what I mean? It feels like a massage. It feels so good. And it is the thing that I come back to. I mean, I've been singing and performing for 25 years, and it is what I do. The first thing every time I warm up is lip trills, and it's just an easy massage. Like, even if I'm sick, I don't know if some of you saw my live yesterday, but my daughter has like the worst cold, and she's like a little singer, and she's like, "Mommy, my voice." But it's like the lip trill, because if you set that foundation of support, even if you're sick, even if anything, it feels so good. If it doesn't feel good, you guys, that's a flag. That's your body telling you you're not doing it efficiently. Something's off. You're not doing it right. Okay. Did anybody have some either tension or discomfort or inconsistency where they might have noticed, oh, maybe I'm not quite doing this yet the most efficient way? Yeah. Okay. Oh, look at that. Who's that?
This is my little one,
Hello.
Sylvie.
Oh my goodness. So cute.
So hopefully it's okay if she's joining.
It's totally fine. Listen, I'm a mom. I have multitasked on Zooms a lot in the last 5 years. Okay, so what did you notice?
I love lip trills because they are a really good indicator to me, like whether I'm supporting well or not. Because
Okay.
it does cut out exactly when you don't have the consistent flow, and it's been ever since I've seen that from your videos. I've used that technique so much.
So how consistent when we were just doing it now? Did you have an experience where it was
Yeah,
kind
I
of-
felt like at one point it was cutting out, and it's because I wasn't focusing enough on it.
So here's a question for you. Do you happen to notice that it always cuts out kind of around the same area in your range?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, and it's I have a fear of higher notes for a while there. I was closing up at the higher notes, and so I've been working on that a lot. It's gotten better, but the trills help so much.
Okay.
'Cause it
Can we play with that?
relaxes.
Can we play with that for a second? Okay.
Yeah.
So, are you able to stand with her anyway? Like,
Yeah.
will she let you? Okay.
Let me see.
So we're gonna use baby. We're gonna use baby for you to feel your ribs, your expansion. Okay. Since you've got her right there, she'll be your. I want you to breathe into her. Okay. Yep. Okay. So you're gonna breathe into her, and if your other hand can be here, okay. And let's just do. I'm gonna start you kind of mid range. So let's start here.
Are we doing the trill?
Yeah.
Okay.
Sorry. Okay, so immediately I see you using your ribs to start the sound. And you'll see it too when you get the recording. I want you to rewind it and watch what you just did. And watch your container here, and you're going to see this.
I'm still working on it.
Yeah, but
I
that's
think
okay.
the beginning trill is where you have to work really hard to smooth it and not.
So the beginning of the trill is the lip. You guys, the onset of sound, whether it's a trill, whether it's on, like the lyrics of a song or something, the onset of the sound is created down here. So here are the order of operations, okay? Release, we've talked about that. Release the body. Number 2, receive the air. Receive the air, okay? Then engage, but the engagement is So yes, she knows. She's saying yes, Arden, you're right. So you release and you have that expansion. You receive the air. Now, when you engage, do not drop this. Do not drop this. So you want to feel like you're leaning into everything. Okay, so right now you're engaging down here, but you're contracting here at the same time. So you're like half in the new and half in the old. Okay, so if you can put your other hand maybe under her, so you can feel like so take your free hand and put it between you and baby.
Oh,
So you can feel your lat. Okay, so breathe into your hand and hiss into your hand. Yeah, you do the hiss beautifully. Do you notice that resistance? Okay, now do that on the lip trill. One pitch. But the longer you go in the lip trill, the more you want to collapse away from it. Okay, so lip trill into your hand.
Okay.
Lip trill into baby. Yep, there you go. It's better. It's better. I want you to connect brain to body. Keep your hand under so you can feel.
I'm gonna put her down.
Okay.
I feel like it's a little. She'll be fine.
Okay. So be here. Okay, and be here. Like I was talking to Gary about, you want to be in this feeling. Okay, and I want you to connect brain to body, and I want you to notice at what point, as you're flowing through the lip trill, at what point do you start to notice this collapse?
Okay.
Just pick any pitch. Are you noticing it? There it goes. There it goes. Did you feel it?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Do it again and resist that. Meaning, flow. I know. Let the lip trill visualize that the lip trill is flowing into your hand. Yes. Yes. What does that feel like to you?
Oh, I feel it more down here now.
Yes, because you're not abdicating. Yes.
I wasn't thinking about that as well. It's like the focus went down there. The pressure went down there.
Yes. So now, as you move pitch, okay, that doesn't change. In fact, I want you to lean, again, apoyo, I want you to lean more into that, which is what's going to help the pitch rise. Try it. Okay, what if I said to you, more tone, less air? Do that experiment. Okay, more tone, less air. Better. Can you move your head while you do it and gently release some of the neck going? Yep, so you're going to like look over one shoulder, look over the other shoulder, moving your head.
Okay.
And I want you to do the lip trill while you're moving. So start moving. Yeah, okay. So it's less about what's going on here. That was a little experiment for me. And more about what's going on here. So what's happening to Marin is that as you start, you start your support good, but in order to continue the phrase, you kind of collapse. Mm-hmm. It doesn't look like you're pushing down, but you just kind of like, you start and then you're like, oh, cool. And then you just kind of let go of it as you go through the phrase. And so then you don't get down into here. Like this and this, it's everything moving out and down. Okay, so let's do a few. When I gave you the idea of more tone, less air, that's what got you there. So that's the quarter that got you that gumball. So when you practice lip trills, every single time you inhale, you're thinking more tone, less air.
Okay.
Yeah, more tone, less air. Do it again. Better. There you go. Okay, so now you guys, I'm going to use Marin to introduce the next concept, which is the idea of implode. Your job is not to get the air out. Your job is to implode the sound. Bring the air to you, bring the sound to you. Visualize that everything is imploding this lip trill instead of exploding it. Drink it in.
Okay, all right.
good. This is good. When you guys get the recording back, I want you all to rewind and watch the last one that she just did. Marin, you're going to watch the last one that she just did. And I want you to watch the ribs on the side of the body that the baby is not on, the opposite side of the body, okay? And it's showing us where the as you go to change pitch, you're changing your support. So the quality, I don't know if you noticed this, but the quality of the lip trill on the starting pitch is good. It's flowing more. It's not so fast. Okay? You're getting that more efficient on the starting pitch. In it, you go to the higher pitch. The way that you're getting there is by kicking in a little bit. So I'm going to exaggerate, but go back and you're going to watch the recording for this, and you're going to watch and you'll see yourself kick in here. So it's going to look like a version of this. Watch it here. I'll do it again. And so right now, the way that Marin is rising in pitch is she's pushing more air. She's using her ribs to push more air to push the pitch up. And this is super common. Like, this happens to a lot of singers where they think, oh, the pitch is higher. I need help to get up there. So I'm going to push more air to push the pitch up. But unfortunately, that's a very thing that sabotages you, because remember what I said, do not change support when you change pitch. It's like the very thing that sabotages it. And the lip trill is showing us that, because the quality of the vibration changes as she rises in pitch, okay? So what I want you to think, Marin, is I want you to think down to go up. Right now, you're thinking down to start, but the minute the pitch starts to go up, you want to push yourself up to go up. And you can't do that. Can you try that? Can you try down to go up?
Yeah.
Okay, so now the way we're going to marry this with the idea of implode is you're going to implode and down to go up. So you bring everything to you and you send it down. Like, it's like you're feeling you're sending it down and you're pooping it out. Like, the sound is not going out your mouth, it's going out between your legs. Okay?
Okay.
Yes, that was a much,
I felt it right up here.
and it was a much more rooted, anchored, grounded sound. Whereas before, I kind of felt like it was like kind of from here up. Okay.
And I feel like also the thing that really gets me is tightening up. As soon as I practice just relaxing and just letting it out, letting it go, I guess you could say.
Well, but that image, I think of like sending the sound out between your legs instead of needing to get it out your mouth really helped you. So that's another quarter that got you a good gumball that I would continue to, play with, thinking down this way, this is where it's going. It's not going up and out. Yeah. Okay. Good. Anybody else want some help with lip trills? Yeah, Gary.
I go. All right. Okay.
So let's start you down here. Yeah. So I know it's hard because you're in the car, but are you able to open your heart space more?
How's that?
And yeah, are you able to not lean up against the back of the seat? Like, come sit on the top of your sits bones more? You might need to scoot forward in the chair.
There we go.
Yep, better. Very good.
Yeah.
Okay, that's okay. Do it again. Yes, now how gooey can you be? Meaning like so slurpy derpy. I want to hear all the little semitones in between. So again, it's like, it's not three different things, it's just one cycle. Yes, super gooey. Good. How's this feeling to you in your body?
Nice and relaxed.
This
Very.
is it. Remember this sensation. Is there like an image or a shape or a sensation that you can call upon in your own practice so you can recreate this again?
I can only describe it what is the lean,
Okay, then
because
that's what
I
you
know
get.
that I know that that's what initiates the trill, and or like you said, keeps the trill going.
Exactly. Good.
Right.
Good work. Okay. All right, guys. So let's move on now. How we're going to translate this into just regular phonating without the lip trill, okay? So now what we're going to do, and this is also one of my favorite techniques, is what's called sirening. So what is sirening? Sirening is, again, just because now we're not on the lip trill, but we're going to add a vowel to it, nothing changes. Like, if you learn anything from me, okay, it's that whatever's happening up here does not change the consistency of what you all are learning and feeling down in the lower part of the lean of the upper jaw of the support, okay? So now we're going to put a vowel on it, and we're going to just do a siren on an ah. Ah! That's a siren. It could be ee. It could be on an e. It could be woo. In fact, let's stick with oo for a second. And we're literally going to siren like an ambulance, right? Like if you were, again, playing with my 10-year-old and you're playing ambulances and you're going woo, 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 woo. What we don't want is this. Woo, 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 right? Where it's like on and then off and then on and then off every time the pitch cycles through the siren. We don't want to attach the on and off to the variations in pitch. Instead, we might be motoring around going up and down in a siren. This remains consistent. Woo, 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 woo. Instead of woo, woo, woo. On, off. Nope. One consistent lean. It's the same feeling as the lip trill. So let's just do, you guys just play around in your own, stay muted, and play with some sirens, like ambulance sirens. Woo, woo, woo. And see if you can play around with moving, sirening pitch while feeling like what Gary was just talking about, and that consistency, or what I was saying to Marin, that consistent down and out feeling doesn't change just because the pitch is motoring and sirening around in different directions, okay? Good, right. Because you know what that consistent lean feels like, and it doesn't matter that we're changing pitch up here, okay? So now we're gonna take this idea of the siren and we're gonna put it into a melody. So the melody for the exercise that we're gonna use is a simple ma, mo, moo, and it's this. Ma, mo, moo. But I want you to think of it as the siren. So what you just did when you went woo, 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 right, was consistent. You were changing pitches, but you weren't changing that consistent lean into your support. This is no different. This is a siren. Ma is the same as ma, mo, moo, okay? So again, it's ma, mo, moo. Then you release, let the breath come in, and then engage your support again. Ma, mo, moo. Ma, mo, moo. Good. So who wants to be my guinea pig? Let's get in this a little bit. Who haven't I heard from in a bit? Yeah, Iris. Go ahead and unmute. And then Darcy, if you wanted to, we can do it.
Hello.
Hi. Okay, so let's play with this.
Ma, mo, moo. Ma, mo, moo. Ma, mo, moo.
Okay, so this is good. I see two things that are going to make it feel better for you, okay? The first thing is, guys, really resisting that urge to push more air to get to the top pitch, okay? So right now the top pitch is a little bit flat, Iris. And there's two reasons for it. One of them is applicable to this boot camp today. One of them is not, but I'm going to give it to you anyway. So, so making sure that you're thinking down as you go up, because if you, just like I was saying to Marin, because if you think down to go up, then the energy of your body is going to stabilize your diaphragm in that low and slow position. Because if you think up to go up, you're gonna push more air to try to get up, okay? So put your hands here on your obliques, and I want you to send the lean of your support down as you rise in pitch. Ma, mo, moo. Try it.
Ma, mo, moo.
Yes, and did you notice how you were way more comfortable to go to head voice? Because you were supported consistently, yeah? Are you able to take a step back and tilt the screen just a little bit so I can see a little bit more of your torso?
Wait, am I turn?
Just tilt the screen a hair, and then I'll see a little more of your torso.
Go back.
Yep, beautiful. Okay. Yeah, actually, can you tilt it just a little more even so I can see a little more
Turn
lower
it
on?
towards or back?
Tilt it towards me a little bit more so I see a little bit lower of your torso. No, other way, other way, other way. There you go. Okay, good. Now step back. Okay. Mamo moo.
Okay. Mamo moo.
Good. How slurpy and slidey can you be? Like egregiously slurpy, Iris. You cannot be too slurpy here. And what I mean by slurpy is like really siren between the pitches. Mamo. Like you feel how gooey I'm being? Can you play with that in your own body? Yes, one more time. Let's do it again. Because right now, what's happening to Iris is, Iris, when you leave the pitch that you're on, you tend to leave your support for a second. Okay. And then you re-engage ever so quickly, but there's ma, instead of, so you engage, you release for a second, and then you re-engage, instead of letting this be the thing that's sending you up in pitch, down to go up in your support. Ma, mo. Try it. Ma, mo. Good. Now keep your hands on your support so you can feel yourself move down and into your hands over the course of the entire phrase. Now guys, this downward feeling, it doesn't stop when she reaches the top. You continue to move and lean through it over the course of the whole phrase. It doesn't matter whether you're rising or descending. That doesn't matter. Okay? Okay, good. That was way better here. Now, let's bring awareness back to here, because this was doing what it wants, but this was coming in.
Okay.
So imagine you've got that strapless bra on that's one size too big, and your ribs need to fill it out. This is what's moving sound. This is just keeping the bra from falling down. So you feel lots of girth and resistance this way. Try it. Find your back on the inhale. Do it again. Do it again. Do it again. Find your back on the inhale. So guys, if she doesn't find her back on the inhale, if she doesn't really expand on the inhale, then she's got nothing to lean into. Okay. Try it again. Find your back. Imagine my hands are right on your back ribs. Breathe into my hands. Good. Good. Keep that feeling. That's it. Okay, good. So remember I said there were two things, one that applies to the boot camp and one that doesn't? This is now what's happening that doesn't apply. And this is a whole training. This is stuff that we're not going to get into today. But suffice it to say, I'm just going to give you one little direction, which is, can you smile as you do it? Mamo. Just bring some joy into your cheeks and some joy between your ears. Okay? Right, and you notice how now you're able to get up to the higher pitch, and it's not feeling like you're hitting a ceiling. You know what I mean? So the feeling of the smile is you kind of this way, and everything else is moving away from it. Okay? Good. like you're out of breath by the end or not? Do you feel tight by the end?
Yeah, I'm thinking too hard and yeah, okay. Okay.
So here's what I want you to do is I want you to go back and I want you to siren this. Moo. Just siren into your container of support. Lean into the siren. Moo.
Mama.
Good. Do you notice how much air you have left when you do that?
Yeah.
Yes. Now we're going to do it again with even longer vowels. Really draw the vowels out. Moo. Yes, same thing I said. Who was I telling? Marin about the implode. Same thing I said to Marin. Implode. You still want to push the sound out. But you guys, once it's out, it's out. You can't do anything with it. Your job is not to get the sound out. Your job is to vibrate it and let it vibrate within your body. So drink it in. Moo. Good. Now you're going to do that. That feeling of siren, Iris, is exactly the same as this. Ma, moo. Drink it in. That's okay. That's okay. That happened because you hit this to begin. Like I said before, just lean into it. You don't need to whack it. Okay. The whole thing is an implode and a down. That's it. Find your back on the inhale. Yeah, so I want you to find your lat. Okay? Get under your bra line. Find your lat. Okay? Just there and relax your other arm. Okay? Do you feel your back as much as you can?
All the way around.
Yeah, okay, good. I want you to do it again. And I want you to connect brain to body and follow the phrase and follow what you feel under your hand with your ribs. And I want you to tell me at what point you go from expand to abdicate. See if you can tell when that happens.
Okay.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Do the mama move?
Yep.
Ma.
But that breath was all up here.
Oh, okay.
Then, so again, on the inhale, send the breath into your hand. Give yourself time to send the breath into your back. Feel that expansion. Way better. And did you guys notice how she slowed her energetic roll? That is really important. You weren't trying to force it or keep up with it or prove anything. You really centered because you gave yourself time. Okay, do it again. Time to find that breath in the back body. Exactly. What does this feel like to you? Is there a sensation, an image, a shape?
What does it feel like? Okay, I'm a little weird. The higher I go, the more freer I feel. It's that middle range to low that's...
Okay, so let's do it low. So here's the thing though. You guys, this is just mindset, okay? She's had some, history with that part of her voice that has convinced her that it's different and it's hard. And so what happens is it becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy because all the stuff that she understands in her body now that makes it feel freer and easier in the high voice, I guarantee you, Iris, you're not using it in the lower part. So let's go down. Let's go low. Do it here.
Low. Okay.
Now, the exact same way that you just felt this when you were in head voice, do not change how you're using your body just because we're low. Everything still applies.
Oh. Okay, all right.
But here's the thing. You supported ma, and then the minute you went to change the pitch, you let go of it. That's why everything got caught up here.
All right.
Okay? So siren through. Do this for me. Into your hand. Ma. Just a siren. Ma. But you guys, her hand is telling me what she's doing. What she's doing is she's supporting on the way up, and then she's letting it recede on the way down. Ma. Don't do that. Ma. Just because you're changing the direction of pitch, don't change the direction of support. Try it again. Just siren it.
Ma.
Exactly. Exactly.
Oh, okay. Okay. Okay.
Now you're gonna do the whole thing. Ma or mamo. It's the same feeling. Don't change it.
Mamo.
Good.
Mamo.
Good. Smile.
Mamo.
Okay. So what do you notice?
And the more I push up, the more I can support the low notes.
Yeah, because the more you lean, the more stable your diaphragm is, the more stable the air is, the better the vibration of the chords is. Like, guys, this is just science. Really, it's just science. Okay, good. Awesome. Okay, so guys, let's take a little bio break. Let's keep it to 5 minutes because I don't want us to go too far over time, and we have a little less than an hour left to do some another exercise and do some repertoire and do some Q&A. So let's say it's 4:13 right now on my computer. So back by 4:18. Okay, guys? Okay, take a little break, do what you need to do. Okay, guys, we are back. So I want to teach you one more exercise that is just going to help you kind of really have another opportunity to feel this implode idea. Let me play it. It goes like this. Yeah, that's the one. Sorry. Me, me, ma. Okay, that's how it goes. Listen again. Me, me, ma. So when we did the first one a minute ago, ma, mo, moo, it was, just kind of unidirectional up and unidirectional down. But this one is lots of little ups and downs, and it's going to give you even more of an opportunity to change pitch without changing support. So it's me, me, ma. Okay, so let's do a few of these. And again, you guys, it's a lot more simple than a lot of you make it. It's really one thing, right? It's one lean over the course of the whole phrase. Like, I want you to think of this, like, think about it if you, like a surfing analogy. If any of you have ever surfed, or if you've, watched surfer before, if a surfer has a steady wave, he's gonna make it to the beach, right? Like, he could be doing flip-flops on his board and it won't matter because that steady wave is gonna get to the beach. Now, if it's a jerky wave, it's gonna jerk him off his board and he's not gonna make it to the beach. So what the purpose of breath support is to create that steady wave, that steady current. And anything that deviates from this gentle feeling of lean and down and out through the entire phrase, it creates instability, and that wave is no longer that steady wave that you're going to surf. So the more you change pitch, the more you change words, whatever you're singing in, if you don't have that steady wave every time you change pitch, you're creating more instability. Okay, so this is giving you an opportunity to change pitch a bunch of times in different directions and not change your wave. So here it is again. Me, me, ma. So everybody stand up, and I want you to monitor yourself. Make sure you're into your hands the entire time and that you're not feeling any kind of, like, follow your body with your brain and see if at any point you feel that you stop leaning or that you go in the other direction. So let's do a few. And me, me, ma. 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 Okay, who would like to be the guinea pig? Who hasn't been up yet in a while? I'm thinking.
I could go again.
All right, let's have Andy, and then also Alyssa. You can come in after Andy. Okay, so Andy, let's start a little bit lower from where we were. Okay, here we go.
Me, me, ma.
Okay, not bad. Let's just go up a little bit. What about no here?
Me, me, ma.
Okay, good. So this is great because Andy is giving us an opportunity to talk about H's. So when I say H's, and I'm going to tell you, take out the H's, because here's what I hear. I'm going to exaggerate, but when you go back and you rewind, you'll hear it. Is this. Me, me, ma, me, me. And what that is, so if this were a hiss, it would be this. Whoops. So it's like you support and you're in, and then right as you're about to change pitch, you just like hit neutral for a second, and then you go to the next pitch and you get back into drive, and then you hit neutral and then you go back into drive. And so it becomes instead of. Okay, so what I want, this is where we come back to the slurpiness of it all. Because right now, you're supporting this pitch and you're supporting this pitch, and I lose you in between. And so we get me instead of me. So right now, and don't worry, I'm not going to make you sing Slurpee forever, but right now, you need to connect the dots between the pitches. The reason that we don't hear that now is because you pull off your support and you pull off your air. And so if I force you to sing all the semitones between the pitches, it forces you to stay in your lean and learn how to change pitch without changing support. Okay? So can you overly, like, be overly gooey? Me, me. Okay, try it in your range.
Me.
No, up the octave, up the octave.
Me, me, ma.
Okay, that's much better in terms of not like stopping and starting the support in the air. Okay, now the next piece of this, because I can tell you're a smart cookie and I want to make sure that you get all of this, is when you're sliding down, just because the pitch is going down, don't let your physiology go down with it. So we're getting me, and we get a flood of air, and it's way more airy than it needs to be, okay? So as you descend, don't let your ribs descend in the direction of the pitch. Resist. So thinking of like if an airplane comes in for a landing, what do? They open the flaps so that the airplane doesn't just careen into the tarmac, right? You're going in the direction of the pitch. Don't do that. Feel that resistance, almost like an airplane, right? All of this is resisting the descent. Me, by leaning into the flex, as opposed to going in the direction of the pitch. Okay, can you try it?
Me, me, ma.
Yes, that's way better when it comes to what's happening down here, okay? Now, again, the little crackle crackle, that's a resonance thing. We don't have time to get into that today. However, I'm going to tell you the same thing I told Iris. Smile. Feel some joy between your ears. Allow your cheeks in your ears so that we're not no sad face, okay? Me. So let's go up a half step. Me. So just smile, but then resist. But it's the same thing here. All this wants to go in the direction of pitch too. It wants to go this way. Don't. So everything is resisting the descent, okay?
Okay.
We're here. Yes, so when you get to that last pitch, I gave you that reminder that just because you've gotten to the bottom pitch, don't stop flowing through the appoggio. Don't stop flowing through your lean. Because what happens to you is your vibrato gets a little fast. Have you noticed that?
A little bit, yeah.
Yeah. And so when you held the longer pitch, so the whole rest of it was really nice and flowy, but when we got to the bottom, guys, when you get to the bottom pitch, if you stop flowing through that lean, Andy, we've stopped the consistency of the diaphragm, and now the velocity of air changes, and we get that really fast vibrato.
Okay.
So even though you've gotten to the bottom pitch, as long as you're phonating, as long as you're holding that pitch, you're continuing to lean. So don't be done before you're done. Just because you got to the bottom, don't stop your lean. As long as you're phonating, you're leaning. And you don't let go of it until you let go and it's time to breathe because you've stopped. Okay?
Okay. Me, me, ma.
Yes, and now we've got like a more evenly oscillating vibrato. Do you notice that? That's good. Do another one.
Me, me, ma.
Okay, good. I want you to do that last one more more time
Mm.
and really implode and resist. Bring it to you. Don't push the sound out. Bring the audience to you.
Me name.
All right. Way to go. Yes, very good. What does this feel like to you? How are you using your body? How are you going to find this again in your own practice?
I feel the resistance, like holding that tension, like at the edge of a boundary, kind of, but just like holding it, you know?
Yeah. And so I want to mirror back to you the language, okay? Because I know it feels like you're holding it, but I don't want you to tell yourself to hold it, because then you will start to hold it.
Tension.
And you know what I'm saying? So I want you to feel like you're leaning up against a boundary, like you're constantly flowing towards that boundary. It's something that it's not static, it's active. It's not something we hold, it's something that we're constantly moving through and up towards, okay? Because
Like,
otherwise then yeah. Well, the image that I love to give the singers that I work with a lot is the image of a beach ball. And so if you guys know a beach ball, the air inside the beach ball is constantly trying to escape. It's moving out and away because it's trying to escape. Air is always trying to expand. It never gets to the end and says, okay, here I am. You know what I mean? That's what keeps the beach ball taut, is that feeling. So that's kind of a further analogy to what you were just saying. Absolutely. Okay. Good, guys. Good work. Okay, so let's put this into practice in some repertoire. Okay. Now, I don't want you guys to do an entire song or anything yet, because because it's all kind of new to you, and I just want you to start to see how you can translate it into a phrase or a few phrases. So, who has something? Could be a couple bars of something, a chorus of something, a few lines of something that we can start to put this appoggio into practice, this consistency, the implode, the release on the inhale, and translate it. Because there's nothing worse than being able to do it in an exercise, but then it doesn't show up when you need it to in a song. Who wants to be a guinea pig? Who haven't I heard from for a bit? Or actually, Alyssa, you had wanted to, or Darcy, one of you had wanted to do this one, but let's see. Yeah, Alyssa, you want to dive in?
No,
Okay,
it's not. Huh?
what do we got?
Did you want me to pick a song?
Well, or you could do the Mi Me Ma, or if you have something, I'll just show you how to put it into that.
Um, I guess what I'm working on tonight.
Okay.
The first two lines.
Yeah,
right?
just do the first few phrases.
Okay. Sitting here eating my heart out, waiting for some lover to call.
I think you're being really consistent. What does this feel like to you?
Yes, I feel the consistency, but here versus like on stage, I noticed that, and obviously I'm sure we'll get more into it, because I think mentally, I've noticed that I want to do more, like be more. So like the anxiety of like push it or whack it. Like on stage, I would probably do something like sitting here eating my heart out, waiting for some love to call. Like I would be.
Yeah, so here's the thing. And by the way, like everything that you're describing, it's mindset, and it's what we work, weeks on in the intensive. So, but what I can tell you is that the more that you want, if you can learn to bring more to you instead of trying to push more out. So if you think about it this way, this is an analogy I love to give the singers who are in the program, which is don't chase boys. So what does grandma always say? Don't chase boys, right? And what that means is the energy that you saying, I want to be more, right? It's all about needing to prove, needing to feel worthy. Okay? And that work that just doesn't all of a sudden get undone in a day. I mean, this is what we work, weeks on the intensive, and that's the most effective work to undo that kind of stuff. So it can be done. But in the absence of that right now, if you can just give yourself the idea of when we think that we have something to prove, when we think that we, you know, want to be noticed or want to be enough, right? That's like, you know, it's like chasing boys. It's, you know, those annoying girls who like won't leave the boys alone, and they're like calling them and they're texting them and they're, you know, or if you've ever been in a dating situation where somebody just like won't leave you alone, and you're just like, stop, you know, like it repels you, you know, and they think that it's going to attract you because you're going to see how cool they are and how awesome they are and how everything they are. And it's the same exact energy that you're bringing to your audience, which is, look at me, listen to me, I'm really worthy of being here, I'm really good. Subconsciously, of course, right? But it not only does it kind of make the audience go, well, in the same way it would if a guy is chasing you and you're just like, stop, you know what I mean? Because do we want the ones who are chasing us, or are we attracted to the one who's just like standing over there, owning his shit, being in his cool space, doing his thing, and we're drawn to him? You know, it's the same way. Like, don't chase your audience, bring your audience to you. So in the sense that from a performance standpoint, you think that you're doing more, but you're actually repelling, you know?
Mm.
But also that same energy causes us to make, force, do, push, you know, and then all of the technique that you understand kind of goes out the window. And that's how we end up vocally tired and strain and all those things. So the idea of bring it to you is, I forget, one of you, I was talking about this a minute ago, is bring it in and send it here. This is your seat of power. This is what you get to own, and this is where the more that you want, you know, old habit would have you believe that the more that you want is going to come from the more that you push out. The more sound you push out, the more they will like you, the more they will hear you, you know, and it's the exact opposite. It's the more that you own your space and the more you bring the sound to you that's going to allow you to stay in that consistency of support, right? So can you plant your feet for a sec, Alyssa, and send your toes into the floor. Like, just press your toes into the floor, ground yourself for a little bit, okay? And I want you to visualize the idea of bringing the sound to you. Right? So what are the first lyrics of this? Just say it. What are they?
Sitting here, eating my heart out, waiting for some lover to call.
Okay. So can you just chant that into your pelvic floor region, into all this lower support? And you're just going to chant it with long vowels, which sounds like, sitting here, waiting my heart out. You know, just chant it on your support, into your lower support.
Sitting here, eating my heart out, waiting.
Okay, so if that were a hiss, it would have been okay. Gooey, string, like connect the dots. Sitting here, waiting my, in and down, like one giant gooey string. Draw it in.
Sitting here, eating my heart out, waiting.
Good. So that to me lived kind of from here. Can you get all the way down into that pelvic floor feeling? Almost like I said before, you're sending it out from between your legs.
Sitting here, eating my heart out, waiting.
Yes. What did that feel like to you?
I felt the difference of like up here and down here. I like literally felt the resonance like right here. And like I felt more power.
Yeah. If you don't feel that, that's the old way. You're up here and then you're just grasping and trying, you know what I mean? That's ownership, okay? So let's do the first few phrases again, and like you did it on the melody, but put it down here. Go for it.
Sitting here in my heart out, waiting for some lover to call.
Yeah. Now when I watch that, I'm thinking, because when I watched the time that you demonstrated what you would usually do, what went through my head is, oh, she's trying way too hard. This is just like the dude in the corner owning his shit. You know what I mean? And you could sing like that all night and it wouldn't tire you out. Cool? Okay. Good job. Okay, who else is up? Yeah, Darcy?
I have a question though. I hear what you're saying, and being grounded is great, but What if you get so emotionally involved in your song and you just want to let her rip? Like your heart is just bursting.
Yes, yes. So there's like 25 things I want to say right now. Which is the reason that we condition the support and the technique is so that it becomes so default and so muscle memory that you can be in the emotional quality of the song, and that's still going to be there for you. Right now, the reason that it takes you out of the support and that it just ends up being like blammo is because that's not default. That's not muscle memory yet. Okay. Makes sense?
Good answer.
Cool. Okay. Who else? Who else wants to play with something? A couple bars of something.
I don't have anything.
I mean, guys, it could even be Amazing Grace. Happy birthday. It doesn't matter. The way you sing one thing is the way you're singing everything right now. So it really doesn't matter. This is your time. You guys, people pay thousands of dollars to do our program to get this with me, and I'm giving it to you.
Me.
Okay. So we'll
Okay.
get there. So we'll do Michael and then Marin. I saw you were unmuted as well. So
I'll do
Michael.
too.
Okay, Michael, and then Marin's on deck, and then Darcy's on deck. So let me just put that in the chat so that I remember. So we have Michael now, and then Marin, and then Darcy. Okay, so let's do a couple bars of something, Michael.
Should I stand or just sit?
Absolutely, you guys should always stand because right now this is not default, and it's just easier to connect to all the lower and the back stuff that we're talking about when you're standing. I mean, you know, eventually. Look, you guys, I can do cartwheels on stage and it will still show up. But until it's default, I really want you to just have the easiest access to your body, which is standing. Okay. Okay, wait, but Michael, I can't see your face.
Can this feeling that we have?
Wait, hold up, Michael. I
What?
can't see your face.
Oh.
You might have to back up. You might have to back up a little bit or just tilt the device a little bit more up. Can you stand up fully? Yep, I can totally see you. That's good.
Okay. Can this feeling that we have together, ooh, suddenly exist between? Yeah.
Okay. Let's look at that much.
Okay.
Because again, you guys, how we do one thing right now is how you do it everything. So
What's
cool.
that?
I said we're just gonna look at that much.
Okay, that's what I stopped at. Yeah.
Great.
That's what I stopped at.
So the biggest thing right now that I want you to be very intentional about is creating that expansion on the inhale, releasing into the inhale and really feeling your back body, like really creating a sensation of a really solid container that you can lean into right now. Because without that nice big release and that solid feeling of expansion, it's really hard to create the appoggio because you have nothing to lean into, okay? So let's do it again. And what are the first lines of the song? Just tell me.
Can this feeling that we have together?
Okay, so let's do that. And I want you to chant it the same way that I just had Alyssa chant, okay? So you're gonna breathe into your back, and then you're gonna lean into your support and you're gonna chant, can this feeling that we, like long vowels and really connect it, just chanting.
Can this feeling that we have together?
Okay, good. Let's do it again. And I want you to feel a momentum and a flow instead of chop, chop, word. Okay? Can this feeling that we have, like it's not 5 words anymore. It's one. It's like one thing. Okay. Try.
Can this feeling that we have together?
Good. Even together.
Okay.
Yeah? Again.
Can this feeling that we have together?
Okay. So now.
Okay.
Did you notice that your body was pretty consistent at that feeling of support? You weren't whacking each word. Did you notice that?
I wasn't whacking the words, you said?
You weren't whacking each word separately.
Okay. Oh, yeah.
Okay. It was one consistent send. Like, you guys, if you learn anything from me today, I hope it's this. Do not change support when you change words or pitches. Like, that is if you do nothing else. And so that's what I'm really trying to help you to get awareness on, Michael, is the habit to want to change the support and hit the support with every new word, instead of, like, it's one current, you guys. The words are just like the lily pads. The current is consistent. Every time you have a new word, don't sink your lily pad and interrupt the current. You know what I mean? Can this feeling that we have, try it.
Can this feeling that we have?
Yes, that's it. What do you notice? How are you using your body to get that? What do you feel in your body?
I'm feeling, I think, a little resistance, a little, yeah, and going down in there, yeah.
Yes, okay. So now we're going to do it on one pitch. We're not going to move pitch into the total melody yet. We're just going to, like, phonate it on a single pitch. Can this feeling that we have, but in your register, okay?
Can this feeling
Can this feeling?
up more?
No, I don't want you. So I'm an octave higher than you. I don't want
Okay.
you in my octave. I want in
Okay.
your tenor octave. Okay.
Okay. Can this feeling that we have together?
Okay, but don't be on the melody. I want you to do
Oh,
all the
okay.
words on one pitch.
Okay.
Can this feeling that we have together
Okay.
create your current?
Can this feeling that we have together?
Okay, but right now I'm getting chop, chop, word, word,
okay.
word. Okay?
Okay.
Find your current. Don't worry about the words. Like, think of it this way, guys. If you were a violin, I do not want you to bow on every word. It should not be e, 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 e. No. Can this feeling that we have one bow? Try it.
Can this feeling that we have together?
Yes, even more like gooey and sloppy between the words, long
Okay.
vowels. Try it again.
Okay. Can this feeling that we have together?
Yes, now we're going to do it on the actual melody, but don't change that feeling of single bow. Words may change, melody may change. The consistency of the lean of the support in the air does not. Try it.
Can this feeling that we have together?
Okay, one more time.
Okay.
I'm going to say the same thing that I said to, who was I talking to about getting down here? I feel
Okay.
that you're engaging until about here. It doesn't continue. Like,
Okay.
I want you to visualize that the melody is not going out your mouth. It's going out between your legs. Can this feeling that way? Try it.
Can this feeling that we have together?
Okay. I feel like we changed keys though. It was a little higher this time than it was last time.
Well, that's the pitch. That pitch is the normal.
Okay.
Oh, you
so,
want it lower? You want
no,
it?
I don't. It's just you started higher this time than you did last time. So which is it? This one?
It's the second one, last one.
Okay. Okay. So I want you to do it slower than the normal tempo. Okay. And I want you to like you're pulling a piece of toffee every time. Like, right, I need you to visualize the whole phrase as a piece of toffee that you're pulling across the entire phrase. Right now, we're getting can, and then it snaps back. Can this feeling that we slow down and really connect the dots? Try it.
Can this feeling that we have together?
Okay, but do you notice how all of a sudden it's getting inconsistent?
It's what?
It's getting that the tone is getting inconsistent. Do you notice that?
Okay, a little more consistent.
Well, but how do you do that? The way you do that is it came up here. We lost all the lower grounding of the body. So the way you get the consistency is that feeling of sending it down between the legs.
When you said between the legs, that struck home more.
Yeah. That's your quarter to get the gumball, okay? That's what you want to do. Send it out between your legs. Try it again. But I just want you to do it a little more slowly and really luxuriate in the gooiness between the words, okay?
Can this feeling that we have together. That was a
Okay.
little bit.
It was
choppy.
better at the beginning. When we got
Okay.
to have together, this is what happens. Body kind of wants to fling that pitch,
Uh-huh.
have together. It's like
Oh,
it just
yeah,
wants
yeah,
to
yeah,
fling
yeah.
it.
Okay. Okay.
And but that what's happening in the fling is you stop rooting down. You stop
Yeah,
sending it
yeah,
down between your legs.
yeah,
And so now you're like a helium balloon that has nothing holding it
yeah,
down, and it just like flicks up,
yeah.
okay? Stay between your legs. Have, I don't know the melody, but have together, whatever it is, it's got to go down, okay? Try it.
Okay. Can this feeling that we have together.
Yes, better. Now that
Yeah.
pitch is stable, okay?
Okay.
Exactly. Consistency. That's
Yes, I see what you mean. I see what you mean.
much better. Much better. Okay.
Okay.
Good. Who somebody else had unmuted. Was it Darcy? I didn't see. Yeah. Go ahead, Darcy. And then Andy, I think I saw you too. You're on deck after. Or oh no, it was Marin. Did I miss? I'm sorry. I'm looking in the chat. I had put Marin and then Darcy and then Andy's on deck. So Marin and then Darcy.
I didn't raise my hand.
Oh, you didn't. I'm sorry. I thought I saw you. Never mind. Okay. Marin, you there, or she might be with, yeah,
Okay.
there you are.
Does anybody else want to? Because I was kind of raising my hand for, what's his name? Matthew? Was that your name? Michael?
Oh, okay.
I can go though if no one
Well,
else.
so let's since Darcy had raised her hand, let's do Darcy, and then we'll see what we have time for. Okay, so Darcy, go ahead.
Okay. The water is wide, I can't cross o'er, and neither have I wings to fly.
Okay,
That's
good.
it.
Let's do that much. Good, good. Okay. So I want you to put your hand under your collarbone, right here. Okay. And I want you to pretend like you're getting into a hot tub and it feels really good, or a bath or something, it feels really good, and you say, ah, just a nice ah, like it feels really good. Go ahead.
Okay. Just
Yeah. Notice the vibration under your hand. Ah.
Yep. Okay.
Yeah, do it one more time. Feel it.
Ah.
Good. Now I want you to, with that same chest resonance that you're feeling here, okay? So I want you to find your back body on the inhale, and then I just want you to get into that hot tub. Ah. Uh-huh. Good. Now you're going to talk. Let's see if we can do it again, and we're going to siren down. But as you siren down on the ah, as the pitch descends, similar to, I think I was telling Andy this or whoever, similar, don't let all of this collapse just because pitch is descending. Ah, that's a flood. We don't want that, okay? Resist as you siren down. Ah.
Okay.
That. Did you notice how you stay right in the center of the focus of the resonance the whole time? Didn't
Yeah, I
get
was
hairy.
thinking it.
Yeah, but right, yes,
Right.
right now for every single one of you guys, it's more thinking work so that your body is working smarter, not harder. Most of you end up like working so hard with your body, but now it's more thinking so that your body can work more efficiently, okay? So now that feeling that you just felt in the back and everything as you sirened down, I want you to chant the lyrics, the water is wide, into that same feeling into your back, okay? Try.
The water is wide.
Yeah, connect the dots. Don't break. So we got water is, and then we got a big old hit. The water is wide. Try it.
The water is wide.
Good. Now I want you to do the same thing And I want you to take that feeling of resistance that you're feeling down here and in your back and three-dimensionally. And on a scale of 1 to 10, tell me, how much did you feel that resistance, would you say, on the last one?
A 4.5, 5.
Okay,
No.
let's take it to 10. Like really lean into that. And you know, look, we can always dial you back, right? So just really like lean into that feeling of grounded feeling of body. Do it again. The water is wide. Chant.
The water
Wait, but you
is
can't lean into a space that you haven't created. So make sure you find that back body breath.
the water is wide.
Yeah, slow down. The water is. Don't worry about pitch right now. Just chant and talk on pitch.
Okay. The water is wide.
Okay. Did that, where did that fall? 1 to 10 in terms of,
Out, and it
yeah.
felt on my back too.
Yes, that's what we want. Okay. So now we're going to put it back on the melody, but don't
Okay.
change how you're using your body. That's the exact same feeling. The water is wide. Same feeling.
Okay, all right. The water is wide.
Keep going.
I can cross o'er, and neither have I wings to fly. That's a little lower
Yes.
than I usually sing.
That's what?
That's a lower than I usually sing.
Oh, okay. Well, you can do it higher in the regular pitch. But what I saw there that was really important was you were way more on the core of the focus of the sound. It was way more embodied. Whereas before, it was like the difference between like an oil painting and a watercolor. Like before, it was like a watercolor, and this was much more of an oil painting. It wasn't as flooded with air. So you could really hear the focused sound. You could hear the overtones in the sound. So you'll hear it back when you watch the recording. But if you want to do it again in the key that you usually do it, you can do it there.
Um,
I can give you a note if you know what key it is.
I don't know what key it is.
Okay.
The water is wide. That's probably what I. Water is wide.
Okay.
Okay.
So same thing. Find your back. Let the breath come in, and then really find that grounded feeling.
The water is wide.
Okay, so I'm going to pause you for a second because now we're in head voice, okay?
Okay.
But the first note is too low for head voice. Do you notice how it kind of like clicks out? It didn't quite land, right? So
Yeah,
this
yeah.
is still chest voice. Chest voice, head voice for you. Start in chest voice. The water, chest, head.
Okay, so I want to be in chest. Yeah.
On the starting note, yes. But again, you guys, it doesn't matter what register you're in. So Darcy, mind is going to want to say, oh shit, I'm going to head voice. I need to do something different.
Yeah.
No, you don't. It's the same thing, okay? Don't change your support just because you're now changing registers. So it's a good example of this.
I might start just a little bit lower and go higher.
No, you're going to start right here because I totally know you can do this. The
Okay. The water is wide. I can cross over.
Yes.
Okay, yeah, I'm not trusting my voice to change the pitches. I feel like I'm gonna crack.
And that's natural at this point because the support has never been there for you, so you would crack. But now that you've got the consistent current of support, you're not going to crack. But see, trust, that's a whole different animal. I mean, that's what we work on in the intensive because that can really sabotage you otherwise. You know what I'm saying?
Right. No, that's great. I'm gonna let someone else go. But the intensive, that's not for beginners, right? That's more for professionals.
No, yes and no. So let's talk about that for a sec, guys.
Yeah.
Because this is the best foundation for your support. But this is only one tiny piece of a larger problem if you're not where you want to be in your singing. Because I can give you the best possible foundation for support. And if there are other issues that are technique issues, for example, with resonance, opposition, other things that you can't even begin to solidify if the support's not there, then you're going to be at a loss. But also, the best support in the world isn't going to matter if your brain is sabotaging your body from using it, like what Darcy was just talking about, like trust issues, right? And so please know that there's so much more that goes into creating your most powerful sound and freeing your voice so that you can go out there and be successful with it in whatever capacity you want. So to speak to the intensive, right, it's not about necessarily needing to be a professional or advanced singer. What it's really about is serious. It's for singers who are serious. And most beginning singers are not usually serious. However, if somebody's serious about wanting to really, go from A to B and bridge that gap and get where you want to go, then absolutely. So it's less about beginner versus advanced or amateur versus pro. And it's more about serious and dedicated versus, I just want to sing, like, then I don't really care what happens kind of thing, But the work that we do in the intensive, right, is because technique is not optimized in a vacuum. And it's all about this mind-body connection, which we started to speak to in, some of the things that I was talking about in this boot camp today. And so I want you guys to think about your voice and this being a successful vocalist in whatever capacity that means to you. A successful singer, it's like there's a tripod upon which a successful singing journey stands. And the tripod is technique, mindset, and artistry. And these three things, they have to be working equally as strong without one sabotaging the other. Because think about it, what happens to a tripod that has a wobbly leg? It's gonna fall. And so that comprehensive foundation is what we teach in the intensive. And so it's set up to ensure everything that you need to go out there and deliver when it counts and make that impact with your voice and have the confidence that you can do that consistently no matter what. So you're not in the cross the fingers boat, because if you're in the cross the fingers boat, in that boat of like insecurity around whether your voice will show up the way it can when you need it to, whether your performances will stand out above the competition so that you break through in whatever capacity is important to you to be able to, take opportunities and make opportunities with your singing, whether your voice could hold up to, 4 or 5 performances a week and not have vocal fatigue or vocal strain or injury, right? So like to ensure that you have the best possible foundation for these 3 things in your technique and your mindset and your artistry, and go out and deliver that when it counts with full confidence and reliability and make a giant impact so that you actually achieve the goals that you have for your singing, instead of just kind of stagnating in where a lot of singers end up, which is 2 steps forward, 2 steps back, 2 steps forward, 2 steps back. And so to that end, this is something that I was going to save this for in a little bit, but I'll just talk about it now. So for those of you who are in this boot camp and who have participated here today, I offer you guys a special discount to do the game-changing intensive training program. And so I will put your entire investment from this boot camp towards your program. And not only that, I will match it. So you will have $1,000 to put towards your program tuition. But to take advantage of that, you have to get on my calendar to talk to me about it within the next 4 days. So by Wednesday of this coming week. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a link right now into the chat that will allow you to access my calendar if you want to get on my calendar to have a call. And I know some of you, we've already had a call to talk about intensive already. And still, if you're thinking about this again and you're like, yeah, like this is what I need, pick a time that works for you. Use that, get on my calendar. You'll catch me up on what's been going on in your singing. I'll go over all the new and exciting developments in the program, including actually a new, more flexible tuition structure, exciting new modules that we have included, like our paid to play module for some of you who might be interested in that, and everything else. So we'll go over where we're at with our program, where you're at right now, and see if it's a fit for you to get started. And if you book the call before Wednesday, I'm going to give you guys $1,000 towards your tuition. So that's $1,000 discount to get the guidance and the training for the transformation that most of you have been missing in your voice, so that you can go out there and be able to take opportunities and make opportunities with your singing in a much more successful, powerful way. So let's open it up for some Q&A now. I see Iris has her hand raised.
Yeah. I know for the call, you want us to send a tape of us performing.
No, part of it is just in our little questionnaire. If you have a link to yourself performing online or something, but it's not necessary, because I know you. We already talked in the boot camp here. Like, so it's not necessary. You can just put NA or something like that.
Okay,
like,
good. I'll do that. Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you.
Yeah. Alyssa.
Hi, I just wanted to say thank you for today.
Yeah,
And I am en route on my way to go drive to a gig that I have to get to. So I wanted to just say hello, everyone, and bid you all adieu. And the link to sign up a Calendly with you.
Yeah.
Will you email that?
Yes, you guys will actually, so tomorrow, you guys are going to get an email that has a couple things. You're going to get 2 emails. The first email you're going to get has the link to the replay, and it's a link to a landing page that has the replay of the bootcamp, as well as MP3 practice exercises of all of the exercises that we did today, so that you can watch the recording back, get the distinctions, and you have MP3s to practice with. And then you will also get another email with a link to book a call. But also, Alyssa, you have my I mean, we've contacted each other before. So if if for some reason you don't get it, which you will, but you can always text me.
Okay.
Yeah, get on my calendar. Let's work it out for sure.
Yes. Thanks, Andy.
Yeah. And so wait, but you have this rehearsal now, right? And your mind is gonna go, okay, wait, I gotta sound good. I gotta impress. Or no, it's a gig. It's not a rehearsal, right? So I'm gonna invite you to go into this gig like with almost weirdly like beginner's mind. Like how could I show up if I literally was just viewing this as a way to get data on what I'm doing in my body, instead of something that I have to like impress? And see what you notice, and you'll start to be like, oh my God, this is where I'm pushing and contracting. And now you have some tools to be like, wait, bring the boys to you and see what happens. Okay, get some data.
Will do.
Yeah, cool. Yeah. Okay, have a great gig. It was good to see you.
Bye.
Gary, I see your hand is up, Gary. I think you're muted still. You're still muted for some reason. I can't hear you.
There we go.
There we go.
Hi.
Hi.
All right. I was wondering if you had some course or boot camp that focuses specifically on pitch correction.
Yeah.
Singing in tune.
So that is when there are issues with pitchiness, it's breath support issues, and then not having the correct shape and energy direction in your resonance. So we didn't talk at all about resonance today, because that's a whole nother animal, and it doesn't matter if the breath support is not consistent and solid. Okay, so 9 times out of 10, most pitch issues are corrected with proper support. With inconsistent support, you're going to be under pitch 9 times out of 10. Once the support is solidified, then there are certain things like what I said to Iris, for example, which is the idea of smile. I mean, there's a whole thing that goes into that. It's really not about smiling, but it's about how it affects the shape of her resonance that allows her access to greater internal vibration in her resonators, meaning her buccal cavity, her sinuses, in between her brain and her skull. Like, that's where the sound resonates in the body. That's just a very surface layer hack for me to help her get there really quickly. But that's like the tiniest piece of it. You know what I'm saying? So once breath support is solidified, then that kind of resonance is able to come through with the right tools. So obviously the intensive is the best way to do that. Without, that in the absence of that, I have something that I can email you, which is, it's a do-it-yourself kind of self-guided instruction thing. So obviously you wouldn't have my expert eyes and ears on you being able to tell you whether you're doing it right. For that, like, that's what the intensive is for. And so if you're curious about that, you can get on my call calendar and we can talk about it. But in the absence of that, I have a little self-guided course that I can send you if the intensive is not right for you. It's a different price point. It's not one-on-one. It's not interactive, but it is conceptually helpful. You know what I'm saying? So,
All right.
yeah.
And I can also find out what you cost to do a private lesson, if you even do that.
I don't do private lessons anymore because it doesn't work the way the intensive does. And I used to teach that way. And that's a really good question. I used to teach that way, what I call the old fashioned way, which is, a lesson a week, come for an hour and do it for 5 years. And maybe you'll get the results that we do in the 4 months of the intensive. But there's so much that when it comes to mind-body connection that doesn't happen in that kind of old-fashioned way of training, which is why singers end up being like on the teat of their teacher for years. Like, I can't even tell you how many singers I've worked with where, like, oh my God, I can't go to this audition unless I go speak with my teacher. Oh my God, I can't go do this unless I got to get in a lesson. And I'm like, well, if you feel like you can't go audition unless you get in and have that time with your teacher, then that teacher is not doing their job. Like, my goal for you is to give you these things and teach you how to condition it in a really fantastic container, merging mind and body, skill set and mindset, artistry and technique in a way that allows you to set these foundations and create default and muscle memory with it, so that at the end of that period of time, you don't feel the need or the insecurity to keep, you know what I'm saying? Like, oh my God, I got to go see my teacher before I do this new piece of repertoire. Or, oh my God, I got to go see my teacher. You know what I'm saying? Because it's just that old fashioned way of training is just not comprehensive and it doesn't get the same results. If it did, I would do that. I did that for years. This just gets way better results in a shorter period of time, which is why I don't teach in the old fashioned way anymore. So that's a good question. Yeah.
Got
so
it.
get on my calendar and we'll talk. Yeah, Darcy.
All right.
Go ahead and unmute, Darcy.
Okay.
Yeah.
You kind of answered it a little bit, but I wanted to understand more about the intensive. It sounds like it's with more people. It's with a group of people, and it's like this, a Zoom or
yes, exactly, very similar. It's we do it so it's broken into phase 1 and phase 2. And phase 1 is setting the foundation. Phase 2 is conditioning the foundation. We do there's modules where there's technique trainings, mindset trainings, helping you to discover artistic identity. You have one-on-ones with a mindset coach. You have individual coaching with me and my team, one-on-one in front of the group. Because, I mean, how much did you learn here today by watching somebody else?
so much.
It's huge. I mean, and people think, oh, if it's not one-on-one, I'm not going to get results. And it's actually the exact opposite, because you're getting distinctions because you're watching somebody else come up an edge and have a breakthrough, and you're like, oh, I do that. And I didn't even know I was doing that. And now you've had a breakthrough on something that never would have even come to light in the old-fashioned one-on-one context of training. So it's a huge reason why our singers get the results that they do. You still getting individual coaching with me, but we're doing it in the context of the group, and it's just a faster way to get results. So there's the mindset work. You have a mindset coach, you're in with me, you're with her. I mean, it's and then you have this foundation that then in phase 2, we're now conditioning over time to be able to trust, because at the end of the day, you could have the best tools in the world, but if your mind is getting in the way from trusting it, what's the point? Doesn't matter.
Yeah.
That's why singers stay with teachers for years and years and years and years, because nobody's working on the things that have prevented that, right? Like, this whole thing is your instrument, not just this.
Yeah.
And this, your brain, your mind, is part of your body. And your body cannot do what your brain is sabotaging. Just
Right.
can't. And
Amen.
you can't build, technical mastery. You can't unleash your unique artistry if the stuff is going on up here that you don't even realize sabotaging you from doing that. So the reason that the program gets such great results, and our singers are so successful in the endeavors that they want to create with their singing at whatever level, like, it doesn't matter, whether you're doing it at the level that you might be doing it, whether you're a pro auditioning for Broadway auditions, it doesn't matter. You're all dealing with the same shit, pardon my French. Like, you all think, and it's irrespective of genre, whether you're an opera singer, a pop singer, you all think you're so different and you're all dealing with the same stuff. And so, yeah, so that's, why I think that the program it's just, to me, you guys, it's my life's work. I mean, I've performed all over the world. I've done all that. And this work is so much more to me important and rewarding. And I still perform, I do stuff, but I don't care. It's like, been there, done that. Like, I had that, because my passion is to help change the paradigm of how singers are trained, because I was a product of that old training, and I had to walk into every wall and walk into every pothole myself over 10 years of doing mindset work and technique work and figure out how to put this whole thing together. And my God, I wish I had known this when I was 25, 20 years ago. So it's to help you guys not have to do that, so that in a matter of months, you can get out there with so much more confidence and trust, instead of continuing 2 steps forward, 1 step back, and then starting to think, well, maybe I'm not good enough. And then you stop doing things, and then before you know it, you quit. I mean, that's what happens to talented singers. And then the world doesn't get your gifts, and you don't get to fulfill the promise and the gifts that you were born with on this planet. So that's, the intent of it's a very, very safe space where everyone is really serious, and I don't mean serious in a way of like serious, but I just mean committed. That's the word I'm looking for. Committed to their expansion, both creatively, vocally, personally. Yeah. Marin, did I see your hand?
Yeah, I just had a question.
Yeah, please.
I just had a baby, of course. So pelvic floor is a big topic for me because I've had 6 babies and my pelvic floor is a big mess.
Okay.
So I've been doing a little bit of exercise there. I'm just curious how much muscle exercise helps with your
Yes.
support, because I feel like it would if
It
you
does.
have more strength there, you have something to work. Especially, and also my other thing is I slouched all my life, like I just slouched. And so I've been doing these exercises to kind of get that muscle back there to be able to hold my shoulders back and stand up straight, because it's a muscle you have to like hold.
Well,
I
and
feel
also
like.
when you slouch, actually, these muscles, like all between your scapula and all of this here, they actually get elongated. And so now they're longer and they're wrapping around and they're actually pushing you forward. So what started as a habit has now become something that just, you know what I'm saying? So in doing those exercises, that's very good. I will say, guys, though, that slouching, what we would call slouching, it also has there's a mindset or psychology reason oftentimes behind it that maybe we are not always present to. And I'm not saying this is true for you, Marin, I'm just putting it out there, which is, don't look at me. It's like what Andy was talking about the vulnerability of letting go on the breath. That I'm going to just zip up here, and it's just, don't look at me, because it's just a little bit, vulnerable, unsafe for many reasons, perhaps, set up by your family of origin, your community, when you were in school, things that before you were even present or conscious of it, that it wasn't safe to be seen, it wasn't safe to be heard, it wasn't safe to be in your fullness, it wasn't safe to take up space. And so no amount of this exercises is gonna, because mind will override that, and you will, still continue to pull forward. So like that's why the mindset work that we
Well,
do.
I think somewhat some of the exercises do bring confidence. Like
Well, yes, for sure.
to a degree, I feel like it would help.
No, I'm not saying that the exercises don't help. Don't get me wrong. They're important because you need to recondition and you need to shorten those muscles that have been elongated. So it's absolutely
It's like
important.
it's two pieces, right?
Exactly. That's what I'm saying, which is that one piece without the other, either piece without the other, is not as effective. But it's also understanding what happens when you sing, right? And also, so let's go back to pelvic floor for a second. So I'm a mom too, granted, not 6 times, but I remember like after giving birth vaginally, things are, it doesn't feel always like it did, and if, multiple births vaginally, there are absolutely protocols and courses, not courses, but like through like PT or other types of methodologies for pelvic floor, like whatever you would call it,
Rehabilitation.
like rehabilitation. Yeah, absolutely. Through Kegels. I mean, that's the most simple thing, but so I would absolutely encourage you to look into that. You might find some support on that through, like, if your gynecologist might have somebody to recommend, or like even just looking online and seeing for exercises for women who have given birth.
I just had a theory about how it would improve the ability to support if you have muscles there. That's all.
No, you have to. You guys, because when you think about the container of your support, and this is not something that we got into too much today because it's just, you need to solidify the rest of this first. But if you think about the container of your support, like in my imagination, in my mind, it kind of looks like one of those glass beakers, in like science class, right? And so you've got, all of this here that we want to keep stable and in that expanded position. But the bottom of the container, is like the bottom of the beaker is the pelvic floor. And if you, obviously, and this is a good thing because you've experienced birth, you know well what that feeling of bearing down is. And so if you put your hand on your obliques, like do this for a second, even while you're sitting, just put your hands on your obliques. And if you gently bear down like you're pooping, well, don't get your whole body involved. I don't want you to contract your whole body, okay? I just want you to just isolate like you're bearing down, like you're pooping or something. But if you do that, tell me, what do you feel in these muscles under your hand?
Definitely it's coming out.
Right. It's the flex.
Mm-hmm.
It's just a direct connection to the flex. So being able to get some support and rehab on the pelvic floor muscles, I think would be a really good thing to do.
Mm-hmm.
For sure. It's a good question. All right, guys. Any other questions? I know we've gone over time, but I'm happy to answer for a few minutes.
I gotta run. So
okay, bye, Marin. It's good to see you.
Babysitter's here.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye. All right. Did anybody have any other questions, either about stuff we've done today, general vocal questions, or the intensive? Yeah, Darcy and then Gary.
Sometimes do people feel like, oh my goodness, I might just run out of air as I'm expanding the bottom of my bottle?
You mean in the context of a phrase that you're doing?
Yeah.
Well, yeah, because you only have the capacity that you have. Right? Your air can't run on forever. You know what I mean? But what we want to do is we want to give you a consistent knowledge of what that capacity is and how to access it and draw it out over the longest consistent period of time, so that you're not in that constant fight or flight of, oh my God, am I going to run out of air? Because what happens to your body when you're in fight or flight? Right? Your brain, right, exactly. And now you go into that contraction and now you can't lean anymore. So again, these two things, like body and mind, you know what I'm saying? It's always a thing that we need to be looking at, what's creating what, right? Yes, Gary, and then Iris. I think you're still muted, Gary. I can see you're trying to figure it out. There you go.
There. Okay. Back to what I had asked earlier, when you were saying you just let the air drop in, right? Between phrases or whatever. You just let the air drop in. Whatever air just drops in, if your next phrase is going to be, just overshooting here, going to be about 10 seconds long, is that air that just naturally drops in supposed to be, with the support, long enough to carry it 10 seconds?
Yes, but everybody
Or
has a
or do
different.
you or do you or uh do you add more air to what for it, in setting up for that phrase?
Okay,
Um,
so let me.
do you
I know
add
what
more
you're
air
asking.
to it, to what automatically drops in,
Okay,
right?
so if you have really embodied the concepts that we talked about today, right? If a singer really understands how to release their body, they will be able to receive the full capacity of their lung capacity of air. Okay, so like I know, but also I need to breathe appropriately for the phrase that I am about to sing. Meaning, if it's a short little phrase, right? If I'm singing da da da, right? Like if it's like a tiny little phrase, then I'm just gonna release a little bit. Because if I do this and all I'm singing is da da da, now I have all this air left. And then I need to do something with it. So then I'm gonna need to exhale before I inhale again for the next phrase because I'm too tight because I didn't use all the air and that's uncomfortable. You know what I'm saying? So
Right.
So you need to understand how to connect brain to breath to understand that if it's a short phrase, you just, it's a life breath. It's just a little life breath. You don't need to tank up. It's a short little phrase. Now, if you know you have a 10-bar phrase, then, like I said, if the singer knows how to adequately and efficiently release their body so that they get the full capacity that their lungs, can comfortably hold, and if they understand how to efficiently lean on their support so they're not leaking air left and right throughout the phrase, then they'll be able to make it through the 10 bars. Now, that said, everybody has a different lung capacity. Men have more lung capacity than women because your lungs are bigger. It's just, just physiology. I might not be able to sing a whole 10-bar phrase, depending, despite the fact that my support is fantastic and my lean and my inhale and my release is fantastic, just because I don't have the lung capacity to do that. In which case, I will need to decide within that 10 bars where's an appropriate place to breathe. And then I will always breathe there every time I sing the song. Like that becomes like, you can't just wing it because that creates insecurity. You know what I mean? Does that answer the question?
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah, because you don't, when you said add air.
Well, yeah, it's like whatever drops in naturally, because you say you just when you release, whatever air comes in, and that's, because you're not pulling air in. Right.
The amount
So
of air
the air
that drops in, the amount of air that drops in naturally is in direct relationship to the amount that your body's able to release and make room for it.
All right.
Right? So
Right.
if,
I guess I'm saying
if you're
is that
holding, you're not going to be totally released and you're not going to get as much air as if you just let it go and let air come in. In the same way, if you try to help it come in, the way that we try to help it come in is actually by grabbing and contracting, in which case you have less room and you're going to get less air. So you think you're helping and trying to grab the air, but you're not, because you have less room when you're grabbing.
Okay, so all right, so it's almost like this. All right, whatever air drops in, is it ever necessary to take more than what already drops in?
No, because then you're going to be creating tension.
Okay.
So let's say,
Okay,
so
gotcha.
watch me
There
from
it is.
shoulders. Like if this is what naturally drops in, now I can take more, but look, it puts me in total tension, which now I can't flow through what I need to flow through, right? It's over breathing. But the over breathing most of the time comes from lack of trust that your body can support the air that you have to get you through the phrase that you need to get through. That's why the efficiency of the lean and the up-tempo is really important. Iris, did you have something to add?
Yeah, just real quick. I mean, you might address this on the discovery call, but like for the intensive, what start date might or what it might run us cost?
So you guys, with as far as the intensive goes, you pick your start date. So you pick your start date. You can start literally Monday if you want. You could, if we talk, before then, you could start in 2 weeks, whatever works. You pick your start date. It's rolling. Totally.
Oh, it's ongoing. Okay, understood. And I guess you'll discuss costs on the call or something.
Yeah, because there's lots of things we need to, just understand. I know you a little bit from this boot camp, but I want to really understand where you are, where you want to go, so that I can, if I can help you, because I'm not gonna. My job, you guys, is not to get in your pocketbook. Like, if I don't think the program is right for you, I'm gonna tell you to do something else. You know what I mean?
And one quick question: do y'all ever discuss repertoire later on, or that's something?
Oh yeah, at all times, because at the beginning, like I said, whatever rep you do, it's going to show all of the technique inefficiencies. It doesn't matter what you're singing, but as you get more acquainted with your technique, and as you get more efficient with your technique, you're gonna start to be able to do things with your voice that you couldn't do before, and so that opens up a whole lot of options for repertoire in terms of in terms of seeing what lane feels good, right? Yeah,
thank you.
Absolutely. All right, you guys, it's been awesome. Thank you for coming. I really want to honor you, and I hope that you can honor yourself for taking the time out of your Saturday to spend on your gifts and your talents and the dream that you have, and getting the technique and the help that you need to get yourself there. A lot of people talk about big change, and very few people actually take action to get where they need to go. So honoring you for that, and hope you can pat self on back for that as well. Keep an eye out for the email tomorrow, where you will get the link to be able to watch the recording back and download it, and download the MP3s of the vocal exercises we did. The link is in the chat if you want to book a call with me in the next few days. Even if we can't get on the phone before Wednesday, that's fine. But as long as you book the call between now and Wednesday, then I will give you $1,000 discount off your program. All right, guys, sending so much love. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. I have enjoyed working with every single one of you. I hope that you got something out of this. Okay, bye, everybody.
Love your energy. Thank you.
You're
really
so
great.
welcome.
Thank you. Great
nice
energy.
to meet everybody. Bye.
Bye.